Hello, everyone. I believe we are live, hopefully. Been a while since the last time we streamed McLaren, but we're finally back with them. We're about to finish off Season 2 here. We're in Brazil. We have a few races to go. Shouldn't actually be too much of an issue. Hello, Edster. I believe you are the first one here. Been a couple of weeks since we last streamed, unfortunately, but hopefully have a little bit more time now going forward. So we'll be aiming at finishing off Season 2 during this stream, which means that we are going to be going for Brazil. We're going to be going for Las Vegas and, well, of course, Abu Dhabi, and hopefully getting everything sorted out. We have a couple of problems that are going to make that a little bit harder for us, mainly the financial status of the fact that with the recent patch, the cost cap got hit with a visual bug. This is purely visual. This one is what we'll have to go on. I still believe that we were kind of close in terms of our, money situation, so we'll try and do as many research projects as we can. Hello, Matei. Hello, Leonard. Good to see you guys. What is with Piastri? Would he get a new contract? Piastri, I believe, have been signed up for a new contract. You can see, starting next year, 5 years. But yeah, he has gotten a new contract. If we're going to replace someone, it's probably going to be Norris for sure at one point. But that is a little bit further down the line. But yeah, that's what it'd be with Piastri. I'm not modified Piastri stats at all. Any time I use the mod tools is just for basically showing off creating scenarios, but I haven't actually used it for that yet. The only time I actually use mod tools is to test things and to make the mod tool video. But yeah, Piastri has actually had a decent growth rate, and he has ended up like this towards the end of Season 2. He had some pretty decent results, though, to be honest, so that's probably helped. To be fair, though, Season 1 wasn't great, finished 15th, but this season in particular, he's been doing fairly well. He's had a win, he's had 6 podiums, almost 200 points. So yeah, bit better year, which has, of course, helped with his growth. Hammer powering up, I got a bit bowl of Coke. Ready to break more of my cars. Please don't. We already... Please, my cost cap, look at this. It's already broken. But yeah, hopefully we can actually get back into this, because it's been a couple of weeks, to be fair. Life has been busy. Recently I got kind of kidnapped to go on a trip with the school kids, because if I didn't, it would have to be cancelled. So yeah, life's been busy. Let us see exactly where we're at. Hello, Ollie. Yo to you too. Okay, so car part inspection results. We had some failed parts here. We'll have to deal with that. Shouldn't actually be a problem. Gearboxes are kind of low for both cars. We'll have to see if we have any extras there. But at this point, I think we are perfectly fine with just not replacing those. We have, well, a decent gap here to the other teams. 3 races to go. I think we're fine. Driver Championship 2. 1 at this stage, so we don't really need to buy any extra gearboxes unless, of course, we completely break them. McLaren's going to win the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship, indeed. Hello, Adam. I'm not getting no better questions, Leonard, don't worry. How to develop the car once more. Let's see here. I don't think I have any slots to really show anything, but in particular, we can have a look at once these sign puts are done before Sao Paulo. We won't be able to have a look at the underfloor railway and suspension, but we can have a quick look. But generally, the way that you want to do it in this year's game is specialize your parts. You'll get the most gain from research, mainly. So as long as you specialize your parts, go low in durability, you're usually fine. We've had a factory fire. Shouldn't be a problem. We can't really do anything here. Approved pause. Manufacturing project shut down for 9 days. I don't think we have anything in manufacturing right now, do we? Nope. So it's not actually an issue at all. Should be fine. We do want to replace things that are missing, though. We'll have to see, as I said, if we actually are going to need to manufacture new ones, or if we're going to be using the older ones. Because if we want to manufacture anything right now, they're going to actually turn into emergency manufacture. That's going to be really, really expensive. You already started a factory fire, you pyromaniac. Just showed up and torched my setup. I do want to have a look here, because I have a feeling that I wanted to upgrade a facility. Because we have 30 million in the bank, so... for next year, we probably want to upgrade something. I'm very tempted to actually upgrade the design center, but that is quite costly. So I think what we might do instead is get the car part test center up another level, Although, if we hit the what's it called? If we hit the event that gives us 6 slots, that would actually be amazing at the start of the season. Again, that event doesn't actually work for you unless you have condition at maximum. So we might end up refurbishing this one and upgrading this one, but both of those aren't good choices because they'll leave us with a little bit too little money. So we'll see what we do there. Maybe just refurbish the design center to be safe. Research is broken for me because it doesn't really help. Yeah, research is currently broken in the way that it's all balanced, so it does take some work. Pit crew bugged. I've had one incident where I couldn't make sense of the pit crew wariness, so it wouldn't surprise me if they actually, put in an extra change there, because there was a lot of things that were just straight up left out of the patch notes, but I've only had one incidence of it. So I can't say anything for certain if it's actually completely bugged or if it's just situationally bugged. If it's a combination of things that just causes it to, bug out. But yeah, the weariness going up is definitely a bit of an issue. Yeah, I did read about that, so I wanted to test it when I get the chance. But they have at least fixed this, so now we can actually see the gains that we're getting here from the research benefit. Been hearing about the pit crew bug? Yeah. I'm gonna have to go on. I haven't actually had much time this week to really play. I've been able to just get my the few videos that I have done out, and that's really been about it. Have a little time to catch up on anything really. So yeah, let's see. In terms of design, we can have a look at the chassis, the front wing, and the side pods. What I really recommend. So your side pods and your suspension. These two in particular are going to be your main source of cooling for your brakes and also for your your engine. So for your side pods, what you really just want to do with this is actually very simple. If we want to have a good side pod design that maximizes what it's good at, this is actually the way to go. And as you can see, it would give us a fairly sizable upgrade to the one that we already have on the car. So even now, this would actually be a good choice for us. For the chassis, it's kind of the same thing here. But we want to just focus on the middle cornering, airflow in the middle. Is basically the best way to go for your chassis. I'm wondering if they actually changed some stats here, because these new designs shouldn't be this affected right now for us. So I don't know if I put the wrong chassis in car 1. But generally you'd like to do something like this. If your engine cooling gets dangerously low, say below 40-50%, you might want to, sacrifice a little bit of cornering for engine cooling. But generally, it's not actually a concern for your chassis. Your side pods will make up for that. Your front wing is going to be another case of just straight up focusing on low speed cornering for the most part. Brake cooling gets made up. You get more brake cooling from your suspension, so you don't really need to focus on it. And depending on your airflow sensitivity and your brake cooling, you might need to focus a little bit on each of these. But in theory, as long as dirty air and brake cooling are higher than 50-60%, you're going to see very minor gains from that point onwards, and you can actually sacrifice a little bit to focus a little bit more into cornering. And that's basically what we're going to be doing for all parts. I keep my underfloors fairly balanced, but again, you can also maximize them if you really want to into cornering. Your rear wing is going to be drag reduction in DRS for sure, maybe a little bit airflow sensitivity if you're lacking that. And suspension is going to be, again, front sensitivity, low speed cornering, and what's it called? Brake cooling. In terms of research, honestly, just do as much as you can, Leonard. It doesn't hurt. The AI generally does 2 research projects for each part, so if you want to have a high progression in the AI, you just do more than 2. Yeah, Adam, you can actually leave your team and join a new one at the end of the season. Hello, Jasper. I have a question. My Costco bug that say I have 22 million left. It's a visual bug, which makes life a little bit harder for you. This is accurate here, so you can't look at the projected anymore. You're gonna have to go at the spent, and that's a little bit difficult because you're gonna have staff salaries, you're gonna have facilities, things like that, dragging the cost up. So you're gonna have to be a little bit more careful, but it's not really anything we can really do with it. Some people have made spreadsheets to make your life a little bit easier. I remember there was one posted on the official Discord, but I don't actually remember where it is right now. But basically, You're just gonna have to look at this. You might have to do a little bit of math in terms of staff salaries, in terms of your facilities. This is your facility upkeep. Your staff salaries will be basically your 2 race engineers and your spawn director. So in this case, we'd have to take 91 from Meckies. We'd have to take 158 here from William here. Let's say 100 and 250, just to be round the number up. And from this man here, we'd have to take another 80. So 330 is our monthly staff wage costs. We have 3 months to go. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a math problem, and you're going to have to do the same for your facilities. But unfortunately, there's no real way to fix it. You're just going to have to deal with it. It does get fixed at the start of next season, as I understand it, Jasper. Piastri and Mick just smashed into each other. Good old reminder of 22. That does seem like the classic. Does it say that you have 122 here? Because if so, you're gonna... That's probably a bit weird. Yeah. Give me a sec, someone's at the door. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I am back. Apologies. Office is now my property. Hello, video already. You're still in my office. Having an overview of the current facilities would be nice. Well, the current facilities isn't actually that big, but yeah, I'm back. Interestingly enough, Jehovah's showed up at my door. And I tried to be civilized in refusing them access. So yeah, luckily that has been solved. Car part test center, most of these are level 2, design, factory, and suspension. Well, design, factory, level 3. The other 3 here, level 2. Then we have the car part test center. We have, of course, also gotten the staff facilities at max level, but they do need a bit of refurbishing here. And probably should actually invest in that. So what we might actually do here is refurbish both of these. And refurbish the, not the boardroom. The helipad we probably should, though, to be fair. But with just 2 races to go, is it going to be worth it? Probably not. So we'll just leave it as it is for now. But yeah, sorry about that. Again, did have a bit of a surprise visit on the door. It has been solved, and hopefully we'll now be back into the game proper. So I think we're ready to get back into it. I do have a research that I do need to get started. I hope I did explain things before I left. But yeah, I think we are back. So for now, we'll get another research going. I do need to see where we're actually at with research, though, because it's been a while. I don't actually remember. I believe we have a 5% across the board. And chassis we're caught up, or the front wing we're caught up. The rear wing needs a little bit of work, but we're basically caught up. Sidebars, a little bit of work. Underfloor, a little bit of work, but again, we're working on it already. And suspension has a bit of a boost. Okay, so we're basically caught up to everything, which is good. The boardroom could be worth upgrading if you are struggling with meeting your board's objectives, basically. Because your boardroom, it gives you team attractiveness, which helps with attracting staff, of course, so it's not a bad thing just from that perspective. The race confidence gain is also nice, because again, if you are struggling with getting, you know, meeting your goals, this helps with boosting your board confidence. So if you're struggling, it might be good, but honestly, I don't put any value into it, so I don't really care too much. Yeah, Mike makes great guides, so you can have a look at that, honestly. It's all the clicks I was setting up a new camera? Nah. Don't worry about that. We do need to do research, though, and what I think we're going to do is another one with the side pod. And again, research now is basically back to everything being center, which honestly, if I had to choose between having sliders work for both design and research, I'd honestly like to have it this way. But again, we have a pretty good regulation state to deal with, just 5% across the board. So I'm looking forward to when they fix that, to be sure, but we'll just put one in here for the sign pods. I just want to make sure that we actually used all our CFD time here, because if we haven't, that would have been actually quite sad. Hello, Athletic. Do I think that the Jehovah's Witness know what Apple Manager is? Probably. Depends. I guess it depends on which witnesses visit you, but yeah. They do have a, I don't want to say stronghold in this city, but they, in the years that I've lived it, I think this is the 3rd time they visited me, to put it like that. So yeah, they do show up every now and again. Qualifying position, both drivers top 10. Let's just be a bit passive there. Portier with Williams, won by 144. Well, if you are winning 2 ECL later, you might want to, you know, switch teams at one point. I saw you posted that on the Discord that you got the extra engine, ARS, and gearbox rank regulation. I got very sad because every time I've had that, as I've said earlier, the AI just votes it down. I never get to experience that happiness. I should invite them to stream with me. Honestly, they do have some like cool youth programs, so they'd probably be down for that. Hilariously
Our
enough,
F1 season brings us to Brazil for the South.
my best advice to dealing with a lot of change. If you're talking the big regulations, probably just focus research, but you're going to be very overpowered compared to the AI season after. I'm very tempted to, once we actually hit the big regulation changes, to either split a save or jump ship and see how hard it is for us in a new team to beat a super, boosted team that we give to the AI. 1,002 points in the third year? Yeah. But yeah, the best advice after dealing with a lot of change in those regulations is just focus research once you're safe in terms of where you are on the board. As long as you achieve your board objective, if you have future relation changes, feel free to focus purely on research. It's gonna be worth it in the long run. All right, I forgot just how shafted this car is. The gearbox is not going to survive 3 races, so he's going to need a new one for sure. I guess for Norris, we're going to be using the quote-unquote bad engine for this weekend, just to be on the safe side. He should be fine with gearboxes, though. So, yeah. We don't have the best lineup here, let's put it like that. Because we also do have a sprint race, I believe. Well, that's my mind is playing tricks on me again. I am getting old. But yeah, we'll see. That should be it. Let us see here now if we remember to click this button. And again, the picture doesn't change, but our reserve driver is actually now in the seat. You can see it from the driver development here, so it's not actually a problem. Sorry to hear, we hardly have them in the UK. What Travelers want is scrap metal. That sounds kind of, yeah, that does sound worth everybody. Yeah, I'm probably going to do something like that, Sebastian, at one point, switching the worst team every time you win the Constructor Championship, but I just haven't gotten that far. Honestly. Albon is 88, that's not bad. Yeah, Jovis can never find a place that was safe. Don't get that much in UK, yeah. I think it depends on if you go into death. I have broken cost cap pretty severely at one point, but the board didn't care as long as you don't go into death. So you're going to get fined. The board's going to be slightly disappointed with you, but as long as you don't go into the minus ranges, you should be fine. Okay, let's just simulate the session and get ready for the sprint. Albon's going to beat Hamilton for the first to 8th. Is that what I'm hearing? Not the worst setups we've ever gotten, we'll take that.
Welcome to qualifying.
Okay, car parts damaged, yeah. We'll have to see it. We might actually just have to tell Piastri to sit out a race at this point. We'll have to see. We are going to have Norris use this engine for this race weekend, I think, just to be on the safe side, although for quality we'll just put this one in. That's just how we're going to have to live life at this point. Just the setup here, this one is great in the middle, this one is also in the middle, so I don't want to temper with it in case I get it wrong. I'm still going to be doing 2 flying laps, and the reason for that is incredibly simple. The second lap is going to be slower than the first, because you're going to be running out of battery by the time you reach sector 3. But the benefits of running the 2 laps is that while the second lap is slower, if you get blocked on your first, you're still fairly safe. So we'll be doing the 2 flying laps now for at least the first 2 qualies, Q1 and Q2. And then we're probably going to do 2 flying laps and then 1 flying lap as our final one in Q3. We'll see what we can actually get done here, though. I'm just going to double check that we have put on all the parts that we want. And it does look like it. Seems like we're fine. Yep, we are good. Let's get into qualifying here. We're also going to have a light rain for the sprint, which is always going to be, interesting, particularly if we need to get a tire change there. Rarely happens during sprints. Could make it very, very interesting. Hopefully Piastri go down ahead of Tsunoda. We'll see how this first run goes. Unless things go horribly wrong, Ocon will be champion in 2025. I think it's not easy to win the championship in your first year with Williams. Probably not easily, yeah, very easy, but it's doable for sure. Talking about first to 8 championships last game, got Vettel to win 6 more championships as Ferrari, not bad. 3 seasons to win titles it has. Shame I couldn't do it with the Hulk, but hey though. Yeah, you got it done. I assume you did smash the whole challenge by giving him a win, unless I'm mistaken, so you can be happy with that. You did complete your objective. I wonder what would happen if I played against 9 superhuman teams managed by the AI. I think I'd still be able to abuse them, to be fair. You need like the chess AI to give a proper challenge, I think.
I could recharge on and box this lap. Copy.
But I would be up for the challenge, honestly. And I don't know game, you know, how should I put this? I'm not too well versed in game modding, but honestly, if I could rewrite the AI script so they just develop like a player would, or min-max development from the AI, I think things could be a lot more interesting. Sure. I think we are safely through here, so we're not going to bother sending anyone out. We have 6 tenths down to Magnussen. There's no need for us to waste tyre unnecessarily. So we're just going to sit right where we are. Sainz out in... what is this? Sainz and Hamilton out in Q1 here? Albon? What is this heresy? But yeah, clearly both the Ferrari and the Mercury has been kind of hit. I did forget to check the data view, so we'll have a look at it after this quali. Just in terms of the lap times now, because quali has been fixed. The reason why 2 runs were a lot better before is simply because of the fact that the AI wasn't actually pushing properly into that line lap of theirs. So when they crossed the lines, they weren't actually at the highest speed that their car could go. So now they'll start pushing probably over here with the energy, while they wouldn't actually before the patch start using energy and really pushing until they hit the line itself. So that is why they're quicker now. My 1 running quality is going to be more effective, because at the second run, as I said, once they hit sector 3, they'll start running out of energy. It's also why you rarely see them improve on their second run anymore. Unless they get, of course, blocked on their first. Okay, I think we are safely through, but we both have Verstappen and Perez here, so for Piastri, just to be on the safe side, we'll put him onto a singular run. I think Norris is safe basically here. So for Piastri, as I said, we'll make him ready for a run if we feel like we have to. Because both Perez and yeah, there we go. That's exactly what we expected. Both Perez and Verstappen are going to beat his time. Magnus will beat it too. So the question now is, when do we send him out so that he doesn't get, you know, a ton of traffic to deal with? Probably now it's a good shout, although we did actually end up behind Gasly. We ended up behind Schumacher and Gasly. That's probably the worst place we could have sent him out. Yeah, we also have Leclerc in the drop zone. Piastri has dropped down now. But yeah, you can actually see us gaining on the Alpine. But it did improve, so no worries there. Just a shame about the tyre, really, but it's not a big problem. Leclerc didn't actually get out of Q2 here, so I need to have a look at the Ferrari after this, because that's weird. Russell did a good job, though. He made it. Okay, let's see. We'll put Piastri back on these tires. Again, we have a lot of fresh softs here, so it's not actually a big concern yet. Do 2 flying laps to build confidence, and that should be fine. 2020 Ferrari wipes, yeah. Bit unfortunate.
Should be green.
Talking about F1, apparently Massa isn't done with the crash kit stuff yet, so we'll have to see how that actually pans out. Yeah. Watching this stream as a Sidemen match. What are the Sidemen up to?
Delta. And we are box this lap. Yeah, confirm.
Then my driver's that when the least amount of drivers on the outlap. Yeah. Yeah, he's you know, going all in. And it's kind of funny reading the comments because some people are just like, Massa has a slam dunk case, FIA has a slam dunk case, there's no real consensus. So I think, particularly in the F1 Reddit for sure, people just want to watch the world burn. But I am a bit curious about how they're going to handle this, honestly. I did forget to tune the run time out to just 1 lap. Okay, so most of them are on in-lap. Alonso, Ocon, and Hulkenberg are on fast laps. We could gamble on sending them out now. They'll get probably out ahead for the most part. I think we're going to do that. We're going to send Piastri out. Then we're going to be sending Norris out. Hulkenberg is on a slow lap here, but he should be getting into the pits. Perez might be a little bit in the way, but I think we're fine. I would hope. We'll see. But yeah, the entire Massa case is, you know, pretty hard to fully understand, I feel. So we'll see. Ferrari 32-time world champion if the results get reversed, yeah. The thing is, though, if that gets reversed, the Abu Dhabi thing for sure is going to have a, you know, a rerun, so to speak. Okay, 2nd and 3rd at the current stage. 3rd and 4th. I think we can be happy with that, honestly. They're just as about as quick as Verstappen here, just 6 thousandths behind. Alonso, is he going to improve, or is he on? He is on a fast lap here. He didn't beat us, so we'll take that for sure. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the Singapore GP because I think that is what people are saying is the last chance for the most part. That the other teams are going to have to kind of dethrone Verstappen, you know, break the streak. So I'm curious about how that is going to play out. Okay, it's practice. It's not the sprint race. That's why I couldn't find the strategic planner. That's just me being silly. Now, since we have already actually set everything up, we're going to go ahead here and put in this shit engine. That's going to fail immediately, and we're going to do the same here for the shit ERS. It's 0%. Since it's orange and not red, we can actually send the car out with it. And it's a desperate attempt at this point to just save a little bit of wear on our pass here. We don't really need to do this to Norris though, so we'll just send him out normally. Okay, that should be good. Yeah, Mass assumed mainly for the monetary aspect, I believe, so we'll see how that actually plays out. Both of them have a very low track optimization, so luckily we're starting at least high confidence here. Depends if it chucks it down or not in Singapore. Honestly, I think Verstappen would benefit from rain.
This weekend,
To be fair. He seems to have been one that has been handling it the best this year, but he has also had the benefit of, you know, being a pit stop ahead of most people when it comes to making decisions in the wet, so who knows? Could get very, very interesting for sure. Looking forward to next weekend. Okay. Are we expecting it to rain for the entire thing? Yes, so Inters it is for sure. If we run them at full attack, in theory we're going to be slower. We're going to be losing race pace. No, sorry, we're not going to be losing race pace because we switched to different tires. In theory, we're going to get a decent amount of time here. About 14 seconds, so we'll take that for sure. Put both of them on very aggressive Inter strategy. We'll have to see if the temperatures allow for it. But I think it's the best bet that we have here in terms of getting, you know, making our places during the sprint. Okay. Let's jump straight in. See if we can make something out of the sprint.
24 laps.
I think the financial loss for Hamilton from that season is crazier, considering that, yeah.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
Press OK button.
Looks like, yeah, not the greatest start here for Norris. That's scary in terms of, you know, teammate on teammate violence. We do have Edster here. Piastri does get Norris basically into that first corner due to the bad start. That is potentially, as I said, going to give us some teammate on teammate violence. Other than that, I don't see any real changes here in terms of positions. We'll see if Hamilton and Sainz can fight their way up. Same for Leclerc. But the wet sprint is going to make it difficult for him for sure. Is having my drive at 100% accuracy rating with very high confidence slightly overpowered? Probably. I don't think stats go over 100 in this game, like they didn't last game either, so I don't know. Might be overkill. It could be for sure, Jasper. It's kind of hard to judge at this stage, in all honesty. What we're going to do here is put both of them to low overtake aggression, rarely defend, because right now they're only fighting between themselves. We do have Alonso on our backs here, but I think it's better for us to not take risks within the team than to push super aggressively. Yeah. We're also getting very close to degrees that we do not like. We're actually overheating the tires at this point, and that in itself isn't horrible, but it's not going to be great either. We might actually be forced to run them standard for a bit. Also, use the car plus to brake, especially in the rain. Yeah, please don't. Honestly. Again, we don't need to really go all in here. What we just need is a few good points, and then we have both championships. We can theoretically still lose the constructors, but we have the drivers, so there's no need for us to really completely destroy the car. The fact that we're still heating the tires at this point is very concerning. The others are doing the same though, so if it continues like this, potentially we might get a pit stop during this this sprint. Will the ad sticker strike again? Potentially. Please though, do not. Please, sir. I need to make a new facility at the Shrine of Edster where we praise him so he doesn't take out my cars. Okay, we are getting a little bit closer. We did cook our tires a little bit in start. It looks a little bit better now. Still not great, mind you, but a lot better. And this is definitely going to make it a pain to overtake, for sure. Because we are going to have to run at least aggressive here, I think, for Piastri. Piastri has a lot of free air right now, so you can actually kind of make a move with that. But with Norris running standard at 102 degrees just behind, that's not promising. Gonna order some multi 2-1? Maybe. I don't think we're gonna need to though. That's the thing. Yeah, Piastri should still be okay. He's not better than Norris, don't get me wrong. But with the current position in the standings, I'm going to be the cowardly team principal and just say that we do not want any accidents. Because if we have an accident here, it's actually gonna ruin us pretty much. We do not have the money to buy any extra parts, and in particular, Piastri is already running his final gearbox here with this one, so probably not going to be able to, you know, make it to the end on that one. So he's probably going to take penalties next time around, or even for the race itself. We'll have to see. You accept offerings of Coca-Cola sweets? I'll send you some Norwegian chocolate, and hopefully that'll make up for it. Current standings, I think Norris has about 90 or so points on Red Bull. But we're still within danger that, as I said, the only way Red Bull catches is we do not score any points during the next 3 weekends. So that's why we want to be a little bit careful here and not, you know, send it into a wall. We are pretty safe. We can have a look at it after the race, because I don't think we can have a look at it during the race weekend. No, it doesn't really look like it. Standings. Oh, here it is. So driver standings there. I actually found it. So yeah, as you can see, we have 100 points right now on Verstappen. No chance he catches us. Driver championship here, we are a little bit more risky, but it's actually to Aston Martin. Interestingly enough. So, well, there is possibilities. It's going to require us to DNF. So right now we are very, very happy with where we are. We're blocking Alonso. Finishing like this and having these positions for the race itself is going to be wonderful. I'm the McLaren boss. With it, the guy should be able to get it at a discount. Yeah. When I say for sure, I think you're saying for sure. Sorry, Joe. My accent is mostly alright, but sometimes I can be fairly hard to understand, so that is understandable. The answer is a tad slower here, of course, as we said, but again, this is something that we're very happy with right now. We can actually accept the current positions. It'll give us a good prospect for the race weekend. For sure. Maybe that's what I should get. I should get both Porsche and Basho in the car seats, and then you guys will have no idea who I'm talking about. Okay, time-wise, we are degrading quicker than everyone else. Not big surprise. Piastri is horrible on his tires, and Norris is a bit better, and he's also running, you know, kind of in a pocket. Makes his life a little bit easier. But currently, it looks like we are going to be starting 4th and 5th. I am kind of tempted to let Norris go, though. Give him a little bit of a better chance. Put him up to aggressive. Allow him to have a little bit of a fight here. We are going to tune down the fuel now, before I forget. But yeah, currently we are looking at a very acceptable 4th and 5th here. Speaking of show, just be careful if his development rate goes down to average. Yeah. The thing is, though, I haven't actually seen, in terms of development, it seems like you are capped at 3 to 4 points a month. So, development-wise, I don't think we need to worry too much. I am actually looking really forward to seeing development of
and it's a win today for Lance Stroll.
Okay, Oscar, that's a check.
Of the female driver we have for AlphaTauri.
We were there when it mattered. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, we'll take that. 4th and 5th in the sprint.
And
Two for sure.
Norris,
Yeah.
he's raced into the points.
Make things a little bit harder for everyone. Yeah, Stroll actually won the sprint. He's becoming better, more dangerous, scarier. The entire deal there. Yeah, we can have a look at the show afterwards to see what his development rate is at currently. The question now for Piastri is, do we buy him a new gearbox for the... because he's going to need one. This one isn't going to survive the next few race weekends, I think. The thing is, where do we take the penalty? Because Las Vegas is going to be pain to overtake on. I think we take it here. You think you know it's bad and Stroll beats you? Yeah. I think we are going to take it here. It's going to give him at least a fighting chance for Vegas and Abu Dhabi. Should be a little bit easier to overtake. And for the race itself, it's going to be cloudy but dry. So overtaking is definitely on the table. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's give him a new gearbox. It brings us close to the cost cap. It's going to hurt, but it's going to be worth it. In terms of tires here in Brazil, there's 3 tenths between the softs and the mediums. About the same to the medium and hard, close to 4 tenths really. Degradation wise, the mediums are going to be better than the hards for almost 20 laps. Soft to medium is less than 10 laps. So if we can, we'd really like to use medium tires for the most part. And we can. We actually have 4 sets of medium for one, 3 sets of medium for the other, with a couple of hards. So we have all the choices in the world here for how we want to do this. But as you can see, tire deg here is actually pretty massive. So this could still be a bit of an interesting one. But I think this is what we're going to go for. Medium, medium, hard. It's going to be about 20 seconds quicker than the base strategy here. Just 14 seconds quicker than this one. But this one doesn't actually have any room for improvement. So it's perfectly fine. Of course, it's Brazil. Safety cars are definitely on the table. But I think this is the best strategy that we can put both our cars on and still have a decent, opportunity to make something work. So this is what we'll go for. We'll see how that works out for us. Yes, it means I can break another one. How dare you? How dare you? How can you do this to me? But yeah, potentially we have another gearbox now that can break. But to be fair, if Piastri crashes again, he's going to be sitting out the rest of the season. And Norris is starting higher up. Let's go for it. Let's allow him to wreck that engine. Let's put him on the, the pristine parts. And see if he completely destroys everything. Now, Piastri is going to take penalty. So he's going to be starting in full. Again, I think this is the best strategy that we can cook up. Because mainly, again, the main thing that's going to have an effect on your pace is how aggressive can you run on your tires. We're going to have cloudy, which means that tire heating isn't going to be super, intense. And that should make this very, very viable.
We're not too far away from the race start here as we edge closer. Who will win? Only time will tell. Here at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
Okay, Piastri didn't actually get bumped down very far. That was loud. He's actually down in 8th, so he still has a very, very good chance of making something happen here. So I shouldn't be too upset.
Yeah.
Should be fine. Had to take a grid penalty in Austria for a 3rd ERS with Ocon. I'm allowed to break something else in return. I don't think I was responsible for that, as I would never break your cars in revenge. Speaking of how dare you, as a Norwegian, how good is my impression of Swedish people? Do you mean can I speak Swedish, or how do I feel about Swedish people? Which one are you asking me, Jasper? Because I can understand what Swedish people say, I just can't speak it. And it's the same other way around. Swedish, Danish, and Norwegian are... the language is so close that if you speak one, you can, for the most part, understand what the other 2 languages are saying to you. And vice versa. But yeah, Swedes aren't bad. I am Norwegian indeed, Leonard. it was Verstappen's fault, not mine, for poleaxing. Damn. He poleaxed. That is one. Oh, never mind. Speaking of Verstappen, I'd say immediately you take him out here.
Now we're just proceeding through turn 4. Dangerously close to each other. And you can see how the cars come together. Who was at fault?
Yeah, at least it didn't hit the wall, but I would assume that is some suspension damage. Stroll versus Verstappen, they take each other out. And Norris overtakes... Okay, there's no yellow flag in this section, so I guess he's fine. But yeah, Norris gets an overtake done under the circumstances. Piastri up to 5th. Pretty good. We'll take that for sure. But yeah, that was instant revenge there when you blame Verstappen. That's... How good can I copy the voice and accent? Not very good, honestly. The way that we describe Swedish and Danish is that if you want a Norwegian person to speak Danish, you'd take a potato and you put it in your nose. And if you want a Norwegian person to speak Swedish, you take the potato and add in, and instead of speaking, you sing. And that's basically how the languages sound for us, which is a joke, of course. Not that anything negative meant with it. That is the idea. So I can probably speak it if I had another Swedish-speaking person here with me. Could probably, you know, get in the, how should I describe it? Get in the mood, so to speak, to try and copy them. But if I don't have anything to, you know, go out from, it's going to be difficult for me. Should sign my fellow countryman Dennis Hauger then? Probably should have, honestly. That should probably be one of my my goals for this game. Spun in the sprint in Belgium, I say, but now he's crashed in Brazil, of course. All in the space of a few hours for your revenge and satisfying. I swear to Christ, you're one of those eldritch gods that just, you know, find fun messing around with this game for some weird reason. Is Verstappen equal to Holland currently? Probably, if you want to look at the value for, you know, value in terms of the sport. I'd say Verstappen is probably more worth it if you want to, you know, try and, you know, judge them. Just in terms of performance. Bottas this time.
There's been a crash.
That looks straight up like an assassination. He tapped him and just ran away.
As for the team back in the garage,
can I get a potato and then sing it with your nose? Probably not, as I said. I can, if I try, probably speak all 3 languages, yes, but it's not actually difficult. But it requires me to have a reference, so to speak. Because it's been a long time since I visited either Denmark or Sweden. So I haven't heard either Danish or Swedish in probably close to a decade at this point. So yeah, that's going to be the challenge there. I don't actually remember much of it. Well, doing good so far. Norris is actually pulling away from Perez somewhat. Piastri is up in 3rd. Looking very good. Anyone trying to only sign players they sponsor in the game as future drivers? Might be challenging and fun. Would be a challenge for sure, because most drivers you end up sponsoring are 60 or below, so could be an interesting one. Holland is just a complete cheat code on any F1 manager in the past few years. Yeah, I would expect that, honestly. Use the research spot as Driver Academy. That would actually be kind of an interesting one, though, if you did it like that. Basically, each time you sponsor a driver, you have to sign them as a reserve driver. And next time you get the sponsorship event, you have to promote them and sign the new one as a reserve driver. That might be punishing, but fun to some degree. But the problem with those is that they are probably going to be better as like one-off, two-off videos. They'll take a lot of effort to make, I feel. And I just don't have time for that right now. That's the thing. Even more yellow flags. Sonoda with a bit of a lockup, but no real incident, so no problem. I haven't actually had a look at degradation, but yeah, that's what I was worried about. I forgot to tune them down. I knew I'd forgotten something, but yeah, I forgot to tune Piastri down, but here you can see the insanity of Norris's smoothness. Norris has been running an attack, and his degradation has been equal to aggressive. Now, Norris is kind of insane because I believe he actually maxed his smoothness at one point. But you get the idea here. Norris can actually run medium tires on attack, and the degradation is, you know, aggressive estimated. So he'll be even quicker than what the race strategy planner told us. So smoothness, just from that, is, you know, kind of insane. We might have to run the second medium stint here for Piastri a little bit more standard. Don't want to tune him down to standard now because the degradation is already taken hold. We're losing a lot of time from that. So if you want to run a, you know, lower mode, do it when the tires are fresh. Is Brazil a track with a lot of crashes? So far, my games have been. So far in my games, it has been, and I've had 2 crashes quite early on. It does tend to, particularly in this corner and in this corner, have a lot of incidents over here as well. So Brazil is one of those, again, tracks where you can have a lot of incidents pretty quickly. So yeah, it's kind of weird. This year it's kind of changed where crashes are, but yeah, Brazil for sure is one. I'm assuming Bottas has a pit stop error because he was in there for 3 years. No, he did have the penalty. That's probably why. But yeah, Brazil is one of those tracks we've had incidents. We'll probably see it now that when the month switch over, if we have a pit stop problem too. Will I show us the driver transfers? We can have a look at those, yeah, for sure. Depending on again how long I can go, we might do some prepping for the next season.
How's this tyre?
Okay. Now we have ran Piastri a little bit too far down here, but that is fine. We did burn his tires more than we, you know, intended. So we're gonna get him in now. Again, he's gonna lose out a little bit to Alonso because we, you know, kept him out a little bit longer than needed. But it's fine. Everyone else is also on mediums for the most part, meaning that they too will be pitting fairly soon. He is gonna come out in, you know, the worst window imaginable. So having him actually run standard here once it gets up to temperature, it's going to be okay, because again, these guys are going to be diving into the pits fairly soon, and we do need to save a little bit of lap here so that we can actually make these tires last till the allotted time. Max have pitted, yes, because he crashed with Stroll, so they both pitted and put on the hard tires. Could I do an experiment where I had higher battery rates for McLaren for next season and then immediately see how I do? I could probably experiment with that, but that'd probably have to be a separate thing, basically where I do it as a one-off video or something. So yeah, we can tune him up to aggressive now. He is, again, he is on pretty swift tires, so he actually should have no problem overtaking for the most part here. The thing that I'm worried about is the crash potential in doing this. Norris is looking ready for his pit stop. We'll get him in, but as I said here, he has no problem just running them on even full attack. So we'll tune him up to full attack here, get his tires up to temperature, and then work from there. Forgot to deploy for Piastri, so we might as well just use what energy we have left. And again, everyone is going to be pitting very, very soon.
Pack is low.
He used 50% of energy in one corner. What a mad lad. But yeah, as you can see, they're starting to get into the pits here. Piastri is behind Perez, which is a bit of a concern. But if you keep in mind that Perez is running second, it's not actually bad. As long as we get out ahead of Alonso, we'll be fine. And there we go. Now, we're going to be pitting once more. I would assume those that go into hard tires will not. Those who go soft or medium will. So we're still looking fairly good here, in all honesty. But yeah, Jasper, an experiment like that, where I basically sign bad drivers and see how the team does, will probably also be better executed on a say where we have a better car. Because right now the regulations aren't hitting very hard. They're hitting 5% across the board, meaning that for the most part, the AI, we usually do 2 research projects for each part, basically 2 for your chassis, suspension, you know, everything gets researched twice. We'll be able to make up for, you know, the loss of expertise there. So honestly, what could be very, very interesting is taking your idea and doing it for AlphaTauri, because we are having that huge regulation change incoming. So what we could do is maximize the AlphaTauri car as much as possible and try and kind of simulate a season where we just see how well do, you know, the drivers do. Because the other concern is that the AI is going to be switching some of those drivers out potentially. So we'll have to sign someone that is high enough, so that's going to require a little bit of testing. But it's definitely something I could do for, you know, as a test. But I think the best team to do that with would probably be the AlphaTauri save. Okay, Norris is running fairly smooth out front here. Again, degradation is not as high as we expected. We're going to just switch him up to attack. Piastri, peak confidence currently. We can also, we're just going to keep him running aggressive. We might actually have to need to tune him down, but we should be fine here, I think. Now, the main concern with Piastri is actually that he has Leclerc and Alonso right behind him, so he's going to have a little bit of fighting there. But with peak confidence, he should be fine. Maximize cornering here for him. Do the AI ever swap drivers mid-season? I don't think they do. Unless you say poach one of their drivers. I've yet to see it. And a prime example is, again, AlphaTauri. We let Rick go, and he's still unemployed. Okay. Now Piastri, we probably aren't going to be able to get away from the Ferrari or Alonso unless we, you know, get full ERS here and try and do something with the cornering.
We don't want to overcook the tires.
So we're going to recharge for a little bit. We have a yellow flag. Sainz has picked up a penalty.
A crash. There's been a crash.
What happened? Sainz on Ocon violence.
Oh, and the car's there, unable to keep out of each other's way. And
I don't actually know what broke up the car there, but that looked kind of a bit weird. The tires are fine, so that too leaves me even more confused. But yeah, for Piastri, what we're gonna have to do is try and recharge. And he actually did get double overtaken there, so that makes life even harder. But we can go ahead here and recharge a little bit more with that. And honestly, it's kind of bad, but we don't really have the tire or anything here to really push anything more aggressively than we already are. And all honesty, turning it down to standard and having him run behind them is probably better for him. Have I found the yellow tire temps graphic helpful? Not really. Like, I understand, it's actually nice that they've added this. But as you can see, basically now they are telling you that your tire performance is going to be the same as long as it's, you know, not cold. And the tire wear rate is going up. But yeah, I like it to be way more aggressive when you get closer to, you know, 130 degrees for these tires. You should actually start shredding them. And this way you should, you know, start seeing that high tire wear rate. But even with Norris here, his wear rate is less than expected. Like, we're running attack. This is the expected tire wear rate for aggressive. So, yeah. It's nice. Like, it's nice that we've added it. It makes it look prettier. Makes it easier to understand for new players. But at the same time, the tire, you know, heating isn't punishing enough where it actually makes much of a difference for you. We're actually going to have to tune Piastri up into aggressive, because he is getting left behind now. Last year I had Merck firing Piastri, he was 81. They put on a 20 million contract. They replaced him with Bottas at Australia. Yeah, I haven't really had many instances of drivers getting replacement season, if any. So I don't know what, you know, triggers the AI to make those choices. Okay, we're getting very close now to Piastri's second stop. Norris still has, you know, time to go on. Again, what my suggestion would be to kind of rebalance the tire heating. Is mainly just, instead of smoothness having a direct effect on durability, it should just have an effect on tire heating. Hello Lorenzo, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. You have K-Mag on 8 million a year on my save. They do like to pick up K-Mag, don't they? We're gonna go attack it now, and I think we're gonna be pitting Piastri right now. We'll be running probably 4 or 5 laps on aggressive, just so we don't wear the tires completely down. The goal here will, of course, be to jump Leclerc. I'm pretty sure that the Aston's going to jump us anyways. Alonso. He is, which isn't that surprising. He pitted a lap before us, and we were running, you know, back to back. Tires moderately overheating. Again, not a concern. They need to get to 130 degrees before we see any big changes there for Norris in particular. So, not a concern at all. For Norris here, we're actually just going to stretch these tires, although, again, with this tire deck, there's no problem getting him in a little bit earlier. So we're going to just do that. He also has a pit stop down to Perez, and Perez will still need to pit again. So, yeah, not a concern. We just pit him when we want to, really, at this stage. Now, Alonso did go on to another set of medium tires, so going to be interested to see if he can keep those alive. And in the nature of our luck, the lap after we pit, we have another incident immediately. At least not a safety car, just another tire bump incident. I do feel like they've made some changes to those though in the latest patch, because those used to look a lot more jankier. So yeah. Teams with high budgets usually use all their budget on their drivers. Wouldn't surprise me really. They don't really have much else to spend money on. There we go. We finally have a virtual safety car. I think I saw a car piece flying through the air there.
On the wall. So there is a lot of debris.
Yeah, I did. Tsunoda crashed into turn 10 and it flew over the main straight. Or maybe not. But yeah. Usually Brazil is kind of a madhouse with that, but this does kind of screw over Piastri and Alonso for that matter. Because it allows a free pit stop now for Perez, for Leclerc, Russell, Show. A lot of cars now can just get in.
Virtual safety car.
You know, easily.
Delta positive.
Copy.
We'll see if Show actually pits here now, because if it doesn't, he's gonna probably feel the sting. Leclerc pit, but Perez, for some godforsaken reason, did not. Neither did Show. Neither did Russell. Piastri actually beat Leclerc out there. Leclerc's up into 7 now. It could actually be a threat on those softs, but I think we'll be fine. This should allow us to go all attack till the end. Could also potentially have jumped in for another set of mediums here, if we wanted to be really cheeky, but we should still be okay, I think. But yeah, Perez is now pitting. He's going to be boosting out. Joe, Russell, I'm a bit surprised neither of them did pit. Okay, we have fuel to burn, we have energy.
Can reduce the LICO slightly.
Piastri is going to be the focus here, but yeah, as long as Norris wins this race, we basically won both championships, so I'm not concerned. I'm going to tell him to just deploy here and get it done, so to speak. Soon we're going to be seeing both Russell and, yeah, Show pitting, Sainz pitting, Ocon pitting. They still need to be a little bit more aggressive, the AI, at least under virtual safety cars, and just getting in there and pitting. They're very, very aggressive on safety cars, but they just don't do that same aggressiveness for virtual safety cars. And as said, we probably should have jumped in the pits ourselves, gone back onto the medium tires. You can see Leclerc overtaking us, but we'll be getting back at him towards the end of this race for sure. If we did stay with him for 5-6 laps, he'll start to really, really suffer. As a possibility, if I do switch, what if I move to the worst team in the constructors? You're not managing currently. That's the they say like around the world chance like that, where the idea is that we win with the constructors with the team, then we jump to the team that finished last, and basically keep on doing that until we either played every team, or we run out of teams to manage, so to speak. AlphaTauri then on your save? You're starting a new one at Star? I think you're gonna enjoy yourself. I did actually manage to make the Reeves champion in one of my side projects, but I just haven't had time to edit that video. It's gonna take me forever to do. So that's still off somewhere in the future. And also might need a redo. Took me a couple of seasons. Piastri's looking good currently. He is staying with Piastri. Again, probably should have jumped in for a better new set of tires, but nothing we can do at this stage. Can potentially also catch Alonso, of course. We'll see how that actually, plays out. Sound idea? Yeah. I do watch F1, yes. I also have the F1 subscription, so my stream, I basically value punctuality at some point, so sometimes I don't think before I schedule a stream, and that's what happened last time, basically, when I scheduled it during the Sandboard qualifying, basically perfectly with it. So sometimes it's just me not checking things beforehand, and then I'm too, basically, shit, I've already made the announcement, I don't want to disappoint people. And although I probably should change the times here, to be fair, that's probably the wisest thing to do. But yeah, I do pay attention to F1. I'll probably pay a little bit more attention in future and try and not schedule it around the same time, because that's probably not the best thing I can do, to be fair. Ah, you switched to AlphaTauri. How dare you? Yeah. Wish you luck with that, Edster. You should have a good fun time. How has Student Noda developed in your save? Is it still an AlphaTauri, or did someone else snatch him? But yeah, yes, but the scheduling is just me being a bit silly. Okay, we're looking good. We have caught up to Alonso. Catching up to Paris is going to be a bit harder. But we are, of course, going to try and get away from Alonso right now. Push for a couple laps there, get out of DRS if possible. And if we can, that would make our lives a lot easier. Piastri still is peak confidence, peak cornering, which should help him to, again, get gaps in this section if possible. It looks like Alonso is following pretty well here. So, yeah, not working as we hoped, unfortunately. Leclerc, though, is getting left behind, so that should make the potential fight later on a little bit easier. But for now, I think what we're going to do here is just harvest, make sure that we have energy to find him later. Do at least one more season with half for this one. You're starting to sound like me. Joe is currently at the AT alongside Dan and Rick. That's actually an interesting pairing, to be fair. Joe does actually have pretty decent results already in Season 2 here with us, although he did make some silly choices regarding tires. Thank you, Jasper, for the shot. I do appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who's already done so. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, it looks like we are getting close to the end here. Piastri shouldn't have too many problems with just, keeping the two cars behind. Fastest lap, though, is a potential concern. Should be fine for us to actually go for that, to be fair. pit stops there aren't very long. So what I'm thinking is that we're going to get Norris in now, put him on a pair of softs, and we're going to try and snatch fastest laps. Of course, if we have a pit stop error here, it's going to hurt massively. We are just about safe. Well, we're not really safe. We're still going to have to overtake Paris at one point, probably. But it's a risk that I'm willing to take. But yeah, we should be fine. And we are, as you can see here. Oh, just about not. Oh, okay, that's... I would like to see a replay there, because I think that was a rude one, for sure. Okay, Norris is up to temperature. We will allow him to go all in here and setting that fastest lap. Albon, Rick, Verstappen, let's see if they actually end up being, you know, roadblocks for this attempt, or if they're quick enough to get out of the way. Honestly, I'd like them to be just a tad slower so we had DRS on the main straight. That would actually have made this insane. But they weren't, and that's fine. We do need to conserve now, though, because we are running low on fuel. And that is a bigger concern. Piastri, probably should have recharged a little bit more in terms of the energy. Still think we'll be fine, though. Tires are a bit low, but Alonso's and Leclerc are actually worse, so we still have a tire advantage. Last lap, I think we'll get the overtake done on the main straight, I would think. If not, we're going to get into that first DRS zone. So as long as we deploy here, that should be enough that we stay ahead of the Aston Martin, and we did. See if we can pull something in the corners here.
Yeah, proud of you, proud of everyone.
Boys and girls back in the factory, thanks a lot. It's a cool car to drive.
Tsunoda and Williams have been pretty quick. P9 stand is much single-handedly carrying the team. Yeah, thank you Jesper for the congratulations. Legitimately running P4. Yeah, I saw that when I did the,
Okay,
the
flag.
Y16 is broken
P3.
with putting Williams into... Oh,
Thanks,
what happened?
That was
Did we have
really
an
good. Well done.
incident here now? What? Excuse me? Did they just give up, or did they actually legitimately run out of fuel? What is this? Because that is Norris ahead of the procession, and he's parked. Oh, okay, Norris ran out of fuel. No. What? I can't see, but I'm feeling that Red Bull is missing an end plate. He better not have touched Norris. I'm a bit confused here. Because this is Piastri, he just arrived on scene. Okay, this is beautiful. I need to screenshot this. Honestly. Because not only do we have finished up here, but we have cars in one corner, and then we have the rest running around the track, and I think the game just gave up there for a second.
What a remarkable drive by Lando.
I would really like to see what caused that, but since Norris was ahead of the pack there, unless, again, the lapped cars, which these guys all were, they were all lapped, caused some problems. I don't understand what actually happened there. The AI runs out of fuel, I've noticed quite a bit lately. Ah, okay. Because they were lapped. This is the first time I've seen it. After 1.6, 1.7. I think it's the first time I've seen them run out of fuel at all, so... That would be kind of weird. But yeah. As soon as editor shows up, a bunch of weird stuff start happening to the game. I don't know how I feel about this. Norris, though, winning, getting fast lap as well. Piastri third means that we have probably secured both championships. We can be very, very happy with that. Piastri getting a little bit further up the order here. We'll have to see if we can climb even higher. But this should also mean that Aston Martin now has a pretty strong grip on Red Bull for third place. I don't think I've ever seen Red Bull finish anything lower than second in this game so far. But yeah, if we have actually lost parts now after the race, I'm going to be very, very sad. Had 5 cars run out on the final lap of a race just yesterday. Okay. It might very well be that that's what happened here, in all honesty. DHL, second and third, not too bad. But yeah, again, this is one of my other complaints that, again, we're at the end of Season 2. Top 10 pit stops here are all under 2 seconds. While Sandwood, for instance, which I believe is the most recent one, the quickest pit stop there was just over 2 seconds. Second and third were 2.3. And the 10th quickest was 2.7 seconds. So, need to tune down this a little bit. Or add some sort of risk if you want to have quick pit stops, I feel. Would be nice. But yeah, as you can see, these are pretty reliable when the difference between our, our best pit stop and our slowest pit stop is less than half a tenth. Or basically half a tenth, if you will. That's insane. Now I got Albon off the line. P3 in a Williams is impressive. Yeah, for sure. But Williams do seem like one of those teams that do genuinely get better, with each season. And it's like Mercedes on every save just kind of implodes on itself. It's kind of what we're seeing here. Williams is catching up to Mercedes. And I'm going to, guarantee by the next season, Williams will actually be ahead of them. Check for Shaw's development rating. Thank you for reminding me. So, current development is average. It has dropped down. He is 23 years old. Performance-wise, it's still lacking reactions, lacking cornering, so his pace isn't going to be amazing next season for sure. Probably need to put him onto, I'd say, long runs here would be a good option. Don't know why I had him on balanced. Just have to double check it and I haven't done something silly. But yeah. We've got him back onto a new one. He does have a new contract, so we'll have to see exactly how we're going to handle promoting him sometime next season, hopefully. Might just be that we do it on Season 3, we'll see. Monster was most recent race, I think. Quickest pace there was 2:13. Yeah. The reason why I remember the Sandwood numbers, like the top 10 there, is because I actually checked that to have a reference to the pit stops. So, yeah. That's why I knew those numbers at the top of the head. But yeah, the pit stops do get a little bit too quick, a little bit too reliably here, unfortunately. Need to add vacations for our pit stop crews. Williams is kind of falling apart, my games. He's falling like a Paris and Show. 10th in Constructors with 8 points, behind Merck with 13. Well, Merck has definitely imploded too, for sure. The factory fire has been resolved, but yeah. Again, it's kind of interesting though that at least we're not seeing the same teams dominate, but Merck falling apart seems to be almost a constant currently, and I don't know if that's actually pretty bad too, in all honesty. At least we didn't have any damage parts from those shenanigans at the end. Cost cap limit, we're currently 5 million away, so yeah, probably gonna have to do, one set of project each and then we're done with that. Car here isn't looking amazing, but that's fine. We can deal with that next season. Driver development update here. 2 points in overtaking and 2 points in reactions for Piastri, so he's still growing nicely. Norris has now reached peak smoothness. I think it's time we put him on something else. And Bashaw here has gotten 3 points. So if we were to say look at Piastri's development rating, he's still on high, so he's still developing really, really quick. Falling apart, or the Williams fact, the falling apart of Mercedes, because Williams will usually rise on my saves, but it's nice seeing that on other people are seeing them fail. But I've yet to see an AI Merc, improve rather than fall down the grid, unfortunately. Okay, let's have a look at this, the pick routine, pick scheme here currently. So currently this schedule should be okay, although they are getting units high towards the end. We have them max, so we don't really need to, push them too hard. So we'll try and remember this, because I'm going to be finishing this season, and we'll be going into December for sure this stream. So, try and note down here, 46% going into, going towards the end of the season. And we'll see if we can, make something happen with that. Whenever they're quick, they collapse. Could very well be. Oh, my friends are being annoying. They sent me an invite to the Payday 3 beta. We're streaming right now, so we can't participate. The dealer's low morale, honestly, just have to deal with that. Nothing we can do for him. Okay, Las Vegas. Honestly, this is probably my least favorite race of the season. Because of the fact that it's impossible to overtake here, particularly in qualifying. If you get bogged down by another car, that is everything, broken. General trend I've seen is Alpine Haas rising, Williams Aston falling. I've seen a little bit of everything, but the general trend that I've seen mostly is that Alpine will decrease slightly, Merc will completely collapse, Williams will usually rise a bit, Haas will kind of stay where they are. I can't participate, just keep streaming thing they invited me to. Maybe some other time, honestly. But for now, we're going to be, as I said, finishing off this season is going to be the goal. Trying to get for an AlphaTauri 1000 point season. I wish you luck with that. Basically, I need a perfect season, but you can try and pull that off.
Welcome to the Silver State of Nevada for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Here we are in the entertainment capital of the world.
Hey. I am still worried for this man's car. Like, the amount of car parts we've gone through is actually insane. Need a 1-2 almost every race? Yeah, that's the thing. You basically need a perfect season, which is what makes it so difficult. But it's a fun challenge for sure. Like, that's the thing. That's why I kind of want difficulties for this game, because that way you can kind of cater to everyone to some degree. People who want the hard challenge will be able to, set up that challenge for themselves. People who want to, just enjoy a relaxing game can do that. So yeah. Whoever makes a difficulty mod, I will praise you publicly. Yeah, honestly, I just wish they would make modding viable for this game, but I do understand that it's, the probably FOM or FIA or whoever gave the license probably does not feel kindly to that. 28 isn't that big on mods anyways, unfortunately, so I can understand what it is in the game. So remember the first Las Vegas GP was in a car park? Yeah. Development guide I made is that the way I still develop. I probably specialize the parts a little bit more, Leonard. But it's still, fairly accurate. You're not going to get left behind by AI by following that. Switched to Haas Season 6, they were 9th in 24, then 10 for 3 years, so they were absolutely horrible. 1,000 points Season 5. But look at this, 7 out of the top. I think we have, do we have 10 penalties here? No, we have 8. I need to go back to school and learn to count. But yeah. It's kind of weird because I'm currently at a point where I advocate for changes that benefit the more than the player. But it also makes the game more competitive, which is weird. Congratulations on the front lockout. Well, Russell, Albon, Gasly, they could still potentially cause some problems. I did forget about Vershaw, so yeah. That's a spanking. So like this engine is barely going to get used because we have a 0% ERS, and I'm happy with that. Let's see, we're missing a little bit. That might actually be what we need. Trying to make AlphaTauri completely dominant so I can emerge back from the dead. Do I think the Alpines or Merc can out-qualify me? No. The only way they'll out-qualify me is if I get bogged down by traffic on my final run. I think that is the only chance they have at out-qualify me. So it is still possible. Like, I'm not discounting that it may or may not happen. I'm just saying that it's gonna be due to me sending out the cars in a bad window. That's gonna be the cause of that, most likely.
Now it's time to see who...
If you guys send editors some, you know, some sweets, you can probably make that happen. I wouldn't put it past them. Yay. 2 flying laps. Again, most of the reason why I do 2 flying laps, it's not quicker anymore. Again, to reiterate, this is not the best strategy. But it's a strategy I favor because, again, particularly in Las Vegas, you're going to get blocked. It's going to slow down your car. This gives you more opportunities to just get in a good lap. Although that lap won't be the theoretical best. We don't need theoretical best right now anyways. So I'm perfectly fine with letting it run like this. I'm also fine with 98%, 97% as well. I'm just having a look at it to see if there's something that we can potentially change. In this case, we would probably jump this a little bit to the left, and then, you know, make up for that by moving this one like so, this one like so, and that would be probably 100%, so we can do that. No promises. I promise, if both cars crash out in Q1, I'm going to go and play Payday and stuff. But I do like the things that, like Payday, for instance, the fact that they have, basically now, what is it? 12 days before release, they have an open beta, where you can actually test the game out right before release. That is something I feel like should be a requirement for every game. To do it as a speedrun, 1 driver only. That could actually be kind of interesting though, but that would again won't be one of those one-off videos that's going to require a bit of time to make. So I probably need to
drive to the Delta.
Probably need to have a couple of days off to make something like that. But it could be really funny, like take Red Bull for instance, just to, you know, make it possible in season 1 with 1 driver. 1 driver challenges Red Bull. F1 Match 23. That's not actually a horrible idea. Basically, we're gonna have to put Paris in the timeout section. But yeah, might need to actually write that one down. Because that one I really, really did like a lot. Okay. I think we're still safe here. I hope. Piastri's kind of in that somewhat danger zone, so we'll set him up for 1 more run just to be safe. And I actually managed to send him out right behind Rick. That is not great. Hello, Cyril. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Okay, so Piastri, I'm pretty sure did not improve. He did not, so living dangerously here, 11th. Should still be safe though. Sainz in 20th, Hamilton 18th. Hamilton has to have a busted car or something because he's done this twice now. Same with Sainz. Oh, Hamilton did improve. I need to play Football Manager when it comes out in October. I have played a lot of previous iterations of that game, so I'm planning on picking it up. So, wouldn't be too far off actually, you know, maybe streaming or playing it on, you know, making videos on that to do a series. But if I do, I'm kind of curious what team I'll pick. But I'm definitely tempted to pick the game up. That's how I get Esther to stop crashing my cars. Just make a sacrifice one driver for 23 races. Really, really wants a blood sacrifice. I'll be streaming Serial until I'm done with this season, and then maybe a little bit more. So at least 2 more races, which while streaming generally takes about an hour each. So probably 2 or so more hours. Basically, as that until we're done with this season. So let's say we spend... I don't know how long we're going to spend on each race. But at least 2 more races, and then maybe some season prep for the next one. So at least for a little while more. Your sacrifices are appreciated and welcome. My man. I don't want any more sacrifices. The amount of... The thing is, though, that's the interesting part.
That's a green light.
In the series that I've been making, Alfa Romeo, Alpha Tauri, my drivers have been generally very nice. I've had very few crashes, and when they've had crashes, they haven't been, you know, total destruction. But in this stream, everything is total destruction, and the only thing I can actually, you know, blame that on is Edster. So Ed is really just, you know, cursing my cars and my drivers to crash 24/7. There's no other way around it.
Drive to the Delta.
Yeah, I
We are
forgot
boxes
to
left.
flip Norris's, you know, 2 laps, so he only did 1. That's still in the game, kind of a bug. Still, though, he did decent, I'll say. Piastri is just having, you know, not a good time.
So you are P6 at the moment, currently P6. It's a good lap.
You do make them more entertaining, yeah, for
Keep your
sure.
pace up on the in lap.
But what you usually see in my my videos is that our competition take each other out for the most part. Like the Alfa Romeo say was insane with that. Like the first few races there, we scored points mainly just because they decided to assassinate each other for no good reason. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Love to learn from watching how I play Football Manager. Again, I'm probably going to be incredibly rusty if I do end up picking it up, to be fair, but could be fun, for sure. Let's see now if we actually have chosen ourselves a acceptable window, or if we're going to get absolutely screwed here. Probably going to get absolutely screwed here. Please no more. Yeah, Hamilton there did slow down Piastri pretty badly. Hopefully, though, we still have the pace to actually, you know, get through. Verstappen, Perez are also still kind of
You
bumped.
are currently P12.
Yeah, it did send Piastri out in the bad window. He got held up more than Norris did. The Edster speed run, as long as one driver retires, this is fine. First hold everyone up. If I do it, yeah, potentially. But if I'm going to do that challenge, I think the idea is very simple, that we retire Perez on the first lap every time. But yeah, this is... Piastri is going to be holding up Verstappen potentially, yeah. But Verstappen is on a fast lap, I hope. Tsunoda held him up, though, enough to actually slow him down there. Verstappen was on a fast lap, too. That's the worst part. So if we have a look at the data view just for fun, this is kind of what I mean here. Verstappen's final lap. This is his out lap. Sector was a minute, but yeah. 24.7 here compared to his quickest 23.4. He got held up by over a second there in that final sector. For Piastri, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of same. Let's just have a look at Norris. So his quickest one here, 3rd place. 42.5, 27.8, 23.4. Piastri didn't even get any other sector, say down in the 42 range. So he's already lost 7 tenths just there. Middle sector, fine. Loses 2 tenths. Final sector, also fine. But he's actually quicker than Norris. But yeah, he just loses so much time in that first sector, which is, you know, very upsetting. And you saw that also now that Verstappen got absolutely held up by Tsunoda to the point where he is a second and a half slower on his quickest lap compared to Q1. So yeah, bit of an insane one right there. According to Mike, all facilities to factory, design, safety, and wind tunnel are worth upgrading to the max. Yeah. Basically, yeah, Verstappen's going to be starting 15th, so with the penalty, probably going to be starting, you know, next to Sainz. The factory, you're going to be fine with having a level 3 factory, to be fair. The only thing you gain from that is just how quickly you design stuff. Sorry, not design stuff, manufacture stuff. Design center, I'd say it might be worth maxing it, but you want to max your suspension sim and your car part test center first. And the reason why you want to kind of max everything else is because it doesn't go under cost cap. I'm pretty sure your race sim, your like the two things that go under your cost cap on the facilities that aren't related to your doesn't relate to your car, your weather center and your, again, I want to say race sim, their upkeep goes to the cost cap, but the other buildings, except for, again, factory, design center, CFD, wind tunnel, suspension sim, and car part test center, those go in cost cap, but the rest of the buildings do not. So you want to upgrade. There's no reason to, as it says, there's no reason to upgrade CFD or wind tunnels at all, because they don't really have any effect that is worth it. The cost is just so incredibly high that no amount of, you know, wind tunnel time, CFD time, and even if you finish 10th every season, it's not going to be worth it from a you know, cost to gain perspective. So do not upgrade your CFD or wind tunnels at all. Yeah, but basically the concerns with maxing some of the facilities is just that they're going to cost a lot of money. That's it. So if you don't have that concern, there's not a problem to go ahead and do that.
Track should be green.
Is my live chat deleting random stuff again? Sorry if that's happening. I saw a message that just vanish. Deleted for you too? Yeah. The only thing I have on is spam filters, so maybe I thought it was spam. If so, I apologize. Spam and, you know, no links thing to try and get away from the bot. Ah, you accidentally deleted your message. Okay, so luckily the bot isn't too aggressive then. If it is, let me know. Yeah, that's not bad, Alex, honestly. I'd still keep my factory at level 3, but maxing the other three, your design center, your car part test center, and your suspension sim, that's more than worth it. Will I play Football Manager 24? Probably. Again, it's a game that I've enjoyed. Nah, you don't need to test it, honestly. Because I'm pretty sure it will also time you out. So don't do that. You'll be timed out. But yeah, Football Manager is a game that I played for a long time. I think my first Football Manager game was 2000 and something. So before 2010. I don't even remember. We used to play while we were still in school. We had an online game running while we were in class, really. So yeah, played it for a while. Can't time us all out. I don't think the bot cares. It's gonna assassinate you if you don't if you get too aggressive with that. But yeah, Football Manager for sure is something that you might see in the future. I have really enjoyed that game. My manufacturing strategy usually in a season, I usually keep 4 chassis for, you know, for everything except for front wings, which I have 6 of. I haven't really tested it too much in terms of the new changes. Lifespan has been reduced for some parts, increased for others. But mainly now with the front wings being potentially just a single race, you might want to, you know, keep 7 or even 8 just to be safe. But as long as your factory is level 3, you usually be able to keep up with any demands, unless, of course, your cars crash into each other, you know, back to back. So I'd say, again, just keep 4 every part, 6 of your front wings, and if your factory is level 2 or lower, for instance, you might want to, you know, keep a couple extra parts. But generally, that should be good enough. Try and avoid rushing and emergency manufacture parts as much as possible. Really don't want to do that. Could see, again, Esper, could see something like that again, because mostly I just upload what I enjoy. I'm really enjoying the F1 Manager games currently, and I don't really have times to play much else. So that is why that is mostly going up. Last year, for instance, before I got sick, I was planning to do some Victoria 3 when it came out. But the timing was just off with me being sick and having to kind of take it easy for a couple months there. It didn't, you know, pan out very well in terms of that. Okay, Las Vegas. We have, even though we, you know, bunked out pretty badly there, 10th and 1st. 10th for Piastri is pretty decent. Can't believe FIFA still F1 Manager's ideas. What exactly did FIFA steal? I'm curious. That's fair, Alex. I can understand the quality of life there, to be fair, so it's not a bad choice. I'm not saying that it's necessarily a mistake or anything like that. It comes down to personal preference, really, what level of factory you're comfortable with. Okay, soft tires, 2/10 quicker than mediums. About 10 laps advantage again here. Probably 12, actually. Medium to hard, around 3/10 there as well. So again, about 10 laps advantage. So if we can, with the short pit lane, we might want to try and do a one-stopper. But with Norris here, we can actually do probably something a little bit more aggressive in mind. Norris has a medium and a hard. Piastri has the same. So we do have some tire limitations. We do want to do whatever is, you know, the most aggressive strategy, though, if we can. It is still going to be just your best bet in terms of getting your best race times. Particularly when the tires are kind of equal from a how should I put this? Perspective, degradation perspective. Jesus, I just can't talk today. It's been too long since I've been sitting down with the stream. So I think this is probably going to be the best thing we'll see here. It's about 20 seconds quicker than the other strategies, which are one-stops. To be fair, this one we can probably alter a little bit. Not really. This one can we probably alter like this, but even then, it's not going to be a ton quicker. Just 14 seconds difference. So starting on the softs here could work. We could also, of course, start Norris on the hards, but I think we'll have a better chance of getting a bit of a gap here, starting him on the soft tire. For Piastri, I think we're just going to do the same, but we'll have to pay a little bit better attention to him and his tires, because, again, he has less smoothness. Norris, I have no, doubt will be able to pull this off. No problem at all. But Piastri is probably going to need a little bit more, a watchful eye. See if we can actually remember to tune him down to aggressive this time around, rather than what we did in Brazil. Just asking because my most viewed vids are EU4. I think that my most viewed one was a full conversion game where I converted basically the starting point of CK2 to EU4. So, yeah. I think some of my most viewed. I don't know why I jumped into most powerful. Most viewed videos for F1 Manager ain't too far behind. So view-wise, the F1 Manager probably has more right now. But again, the EU4 videos are very, very old. So we'll see. Could be very much that I end up with a lot of different, games on the channel as we go on. Makes Manager cost cap a bit different too. Plus, I consistently had over 100 mil in the bank. Yeah, honestly, when you reach that point, there's not there's not really a problem. At that point, you can just send it. At that point, upgrading CFD and internal is probably also beneficial, just so you get a bit more of a challenge with your cost cap.
The city of Las Vegas is abuzz with it. The atmosphere is electric here for the Las Vegas Grand Prix.
I see. I step right in the background to assassinate me.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
Yeah, good start there from Piastri, but he actually got held up by a bad start there from the Alpine. That's a bit sad. So most drivers are on soft here. We have 5 medium runners, Hamilton and Russell on the second row here. Magnussen also ready to pull some assassination moves. It's the old Nick I went by. You're always looking at? Of course you are. Did speed things up probably a little bit too much here. Norris has faster lap. We are pulling away our front, so looking good there. The fact that we already have gaps from Hamilton here to Leclerc is worrisome though. As I said, I think Hamilton has a damaged car. We can actually have a bit of a look. Here's how his car is actually, because he's been having some bad, damaged engine. Mostly his parts are low, but I don't think they make up that much damage. I think it needed more than just one damage piece. Russell actually caught up with us, so yeah, could potentially have a little bit of an issue here. I think it'll be fine though. Heat-wise for these tires, we can go up to 120, so we're still looking really, really good. During the practice sessions, when I signed Rick to Alpha, how many stamps did I look and send in the post box? Not sure I follow Hibbity. In terms of figuring out how much you needed to pay him, basically I just kept on jumping up with 1 to 2 million every time, because I figured out pretty early that the drivers needed a lot more money than in earlier iterations, so to speak. So that made things a little bit more challenging to figure out. Piastri is not having a good time on this track so far. He's fallen down behind Bottas. Verstappen has done a good job. He's up into 14th. What would you make 2 game dev tycoon videos? I think life got in the way. I just didn't have time for more. It's been a lot of things that I've tried and then just, life's got in my way. There's been periods when I upload a lot, periods where I've barely, been even logging onto YouTube. Things like that, so it varies. Piastri is actually getting bogged down here. Completely. Ah, yeah. Rick's famous send it. Lick to stamp and send it.
Copy.
Yeah, Piastri's not having a good weekend so far. Here, see how all the driver ratings are looking on my save and see how different they are to mine. We can have a look at that, honestly. Once we're done with this season, we can have a bit of a look on everyone, see how they're doing. First thing that I thought, Jasper, that with Hippities was basically how many times did I have to try and figure out, Rick's demands in terms of wages, because they are pretty hefty. So even while running him on aggressive, he's doing lower than expected, and I think the same is the case for Norris. That's not promising. That's going to be problematic. I probably wouldn't, yes, but I made that ages ago. I don't even remember what the video was about, so probably if you want to watch something, I'd probably advise to just stick with the F1 content for now. It's fairly old. I probably should do a bit of a purging of some of the older videos, to be fair. Max is 94 overall, 99 coring, 97 braking. Max is a good car, but for some reason they have Sainz and Stroll just can't take out Sainz at every other race. I find that a bit surprising because Stroll has been pretty, you know, stable. In this one, he's kind of out competing Alonso sometimes. Verstappen, though, is just rocketing ahead now with his newfound power. Just, yeah, that's that. Most of my videos are really, really old, that's the thing. You're not really losing lap times if you overheat your tires, Mastram. You get higher tire degradation, but overheating your tires isn't negatively affected, really. The only thing you lose, as I said, is that you're going to be having higher degradation, meaning you lose durability quicker, but you're not going to be slower. You're actually going to be most likely quicker by running them in attack. The only thing you want to avoid really is to not go over the maximum, which in this case is 120 degrees, but degradation is still fairly high, fortunately. I think we are going to get Piastri in here now. He isn't really doing well anyways, so let's just get him in onto a new set on medium, see if he can jump someone during the pit stops, but apparently I gave him the order a tad too late. Stroll seems to be a nightmare in mine. Tsunoda in that Ferrari with Russell. That's an interesting Ferrari lineup, in all honesty. I don't think I've ever seen that one. In terms of the other cars here, it won't be too long until day 2 we'll need to pit. Probably just a couple of laps. Norris actually comes out in a pretty bad spot though, but does get some free air. So we'll have to see if we can actually make something out of this this air that we do now have. Same here for Piastri. I think for Piastri's sake, we might need to run him aggressive just to be on the safe side. And for Norris, running him on attack should be fine, I think. Tend to be safe and not run them within 5 degrees of the maximum. That's honestly a good way of doing things. I usually just try and pay attention and see, like, degradation, is it higher than expected or not, and then just judge it down to that. Russell and Perez currently at Ferrari for me. I think I've... Oh yeah, Russell does go to Ferrari often. You're not wrong. Okay, does Piastri does Piastri jump someone? He did, but I don't think he jumped Magnussen here, which is going to be a bit concerning. Might need to just deploy and try and get by both Cho and Magnussen ASAP for Piastri's sake. Norris is still doing good. Russell pits, Stroll pits. I think Norris is going to jump both, hopefully. Nope.
Pack is low.
Copy.
Piastri did jump some of them, but Norris is going to need the same thing. Just deploy the ERS here and get by the car in front. In this case, Russell. Hopefully now on the straight. Tsunoda had the lightest car. Is that a you know, a height joke? The fact that Russell is actually staying with us on hard tires is concerning. Degradation wise, we're actually fine running full attack for both cars, I think. Should probably tune them up to that earlier. Because right now, Piastri is going to be in yet another, you know, troublesome train. But it should be okay. Harrison Bottas, I believe, just retired in season 28. That's why teams prefer younger drivers. They're lighter. Jesus Christ. Honestly, though, that would be something they would be adding to the game here, because they do add weird details and complexity at some points. One of those things is that the cars themselves, real F1 cars have lights that kind of signify if a car is safe to touch by marshals. Basically, if the car is going to electrocute someone, and they actually implemented that into the game. So it would not surprise me if, with the weight changes that they did with durability, that they added that, you know, a lighter driver will have a lighter car as a result. Piastri not having, as I said, a good time. Can't really get any overtakes or anything done here. So the undercut did not really work out for us. Now Norris is still running with Hamilton and Russell, so he's still okay. But Hamilton has really stretched these tires half distance. I'm wondering if he's planning to go on a soft tire for the final stint. That would actually be kind of amazing if he does. Yeah, this track is kind of hard to overtake on because you just slow down so much in the corners. So yeah, I'm struggling with the overtakes here, for sure. Did Hamilton have a puncture now? No, he actually pitted, okay. So no puncture. But he actually pitted out perfectly in front of Piastri's, so Piastri's life here just gets harder and harder the longer he stays out. The fact that he also has damage to his engine doesn't make his life any easier. Yeah, I can see that, Alex. I'm considering actually tuning up the durability for, sorry, not suspension, the front wing in particular, because it's just so incredibly low. Go on, Piastri, send it. Send it so we get a 3-wide crash. In Edsta's honor. But yeah, degradation is actually incredibly minor on the mediums compared to the other tires. F1 Manager 25 going to be simulating driver confidence based on what they ate for lunch. Rather than what they ate for lunch, it's going to have a you know, ate spoiled food thing. Your driver has stomach issues and needs to retire. Which would honestly be a tad hilarious. We're going to do something that I really don't want to do, but we do need to try and get something done here for Piastri, because once he pits again, he's going to be basically out of this race. I should just realize by now that one stopper is the best way to go here. But my stubborn self can't accept that. We're going to be putting his aggression up. We might need to put it down very soon here, because it still keeps on going down. But we'll see. Singapore did my drive lift and coast. Yeah, I don't think they coded that straight correctly, so they still think that they need to brake for a corner, and that means that they will, you know, brake a bit more. Same with, particularly in Belgium, when people pit, they will slow down on the straight. So it's kind of hard from that perspective too. Makes life a little bit more troublesome, if you will. I think we're just going to be pitting Piastri this lap. It's not going to be great by any means of the imagination, but I think it's the best thing we can do for him. We're going to have to pit Norris fairly soon too, so one more lap I think, then we pit him. Or rather, we can just pit him now, because that's going to actually slow down Russell, and degradation he has is incredibly minor compared to Piastri. 10-minute piss because he had to go to the toilet. Yeah, that would be extremely painful though. But again, I think for next year's game, because I don't think they're going to be adding anything huge. We're going to be seeing my team probably, and maybe engine, you know, manufacture. Honestly, I don't think we're going to see engine manufacturing or, you know, becoming a works team next year. We're probably just going to get my team for the most part. Maybe driver academies, or worst case scenario, over the next 3 years, we're going to be seeing my team next year. We're going to be seeing driver academies probably the year after, or my team next year. Then, you know, driver academies, switch them around, and then 3 years from now, we'll be seeing probably engine manufacturing becoming a work team. If, you know, if they take that route of development, it'll depend though. Yeah, Weber did not have a good time during that race. And we are currently not having the greatest time here either. I think what we might need to do here is just put them to rarely defend, honestly. I don't know if that might actually speed them up here. Because Norris is catching up to Cars in front quite rapidly, I might add to that. 37.6. Leclerc's running the same though, but the Russell were catching up by a lot. Piastri though, again, not having the best of luck here. Probably putting him on a one-stopper would have been better. I think after crashes, depending on how, yeah. Because you have incidents like with, very recently, we had, you know, Rick break his hand. It happens. We have breaks, we have concussions, or we have other things that, you know, will put a driver out. It's very rare, really, that over the course of a season, but it will happen. Doesn't need to be, again, just more than, say, you know, one race over the course of 2-3 seasons, but it can happen. Yeah, you get to choose between the 4 manufacturers at the end of your first season, Master. For your first season, you're locked in. So once you've played, once you finish your first season, you can pick a new engine manufacturer if you want to. Then this pack is empty. The fact that Verstappen has actually clawed his way back up to behind Norris here is insane. Yeah, if you are the 4 teams that Jasper told you here, Merc, Ferrari, and Alpine or Red Bull, because they make those engines, they're not allowed to switch to a competitor's. You can switch your engine. I might have gotten a little bit doom and gloomy a little bit too early in terms of Norris, because he's now getting very close to potentially fighting the top 4 here for a win. Piastri, though, still again not really having the best time. The engine is really hurting his chances, I think. For Norris here, the main question is going to just be, is there space enough here to make a move? Does not really look like it. I'm also very surprised we haven't had any incidents yet, because I usually have a ton on this track. And we'll try and deploy here with Norris, see if we give him that little bit of extra oomph to get by the... get by Stroll. And for him too, we're going to be putting him to a high overtake aggression. Is this a double one? Nah, bail out of it. That could have been a tap the Ferrari and send him into the Shadow Realm. Piastri up into 13th, still making moves. 5 seconds up to the next one though. That's going to be difficult, but potentially here, if we get some insane finishing, could potentially get him up into the points. Norris on his hand has made his way back up to first position, has better tires, is probably running a way more aggressive strategy. So if we harvest there, we could potentially try and pull away, but the DRS zones on this track in particular is going to make that really difficult. Those sacrifices that we made were worth it. The sacrifice we were talking about is that there was a really good idea here where, say, you play Red Bull, but you're only allowed to use one driver, meaning that if you play Red Bull, you'll be parking Paris in the garage at the end of the first lap for every race, and still see if you can, you know, win the championship. And that could be, you know, something that would be really funny to kind of try. So that was the idea there with the sacrifices. Can you of course what happened last race at the end of this race? I don't think we have enough left cars to make that happen, because I would assume that is a bug with, as I said, the cars being lapped. And we don't have any lapped cars. See if we can get Piastri a little bit further up. I wonder how the board confidence will feel about that. I'm curious about that too, honestly. So again, it's one of those ideas I kind of do want to test. Basically, it would need probably a day where I can just, you know, relax, don't have to worry about anything else. I can just sit down and kind of have a throwaway season. I think Edsa is talking Jasper in response to parking Perez for a whole season, how the board would feel about that. But if anything, Edsa is my board in this save because he is the one that curses my cars. Where's Alpon? Albono is up here, right ahead of us. Could potentially get him here, we'll have to see. It's going to be close. 2 laps, 2 seconds. We're running a second quicker, so we'll probably have a chance at lunging on the final lap. So potentially a Piastri could be fighting for a singular point. Norris is still running ahead of Leclerc, so while I don't really want to, we could push fuel a little bit. I just need to be careful and actually, you know, pay attention enough that we don't lose, that we don't run out, so to speak, because that would be a tragedy. So what I'm saying is Stroll. Yeah, basically he is Papa Stroll. Honestly though, in terms of this channel, Papa Stroll would probably be lost in BKK, who is currently on what I hope to be a vacation, but might also be work related. That's the sugar daddy, if you will.
Okay, mate, absolutely fantastic job.
Okay.
Proud of you. Well done.
Piastri gets the lunge done, so
Use deploy.
see now if we have some shenanigans happening. Stroll did finish 4th, Alonso 9th, so we might have a bit of a Red Bull versus Aston Martin fight towards the end here.
Okay, that's the checkered flag. Finished P10.
We were there when it mattered.
I decide if his pass will fail or not. Yeah, basically.
The McLaren driver put in a great...
I thank you for your mercy so far. We're probably going to double DNF now in the final race, but I'd say this is a pretty close fight here for second. 4 points between Alonso and Verstappen. Oscar falls down to 7 with that result, which isn't a surprise, but he can't fall down any lower. He can only rise. But even then, it's a bit of a challenge there. Constructors then, 3 points between Aston Martin and Red Bull. So yeah, they are going to be fighting to the bitter end here, basically. They even gave Verstappen, you know, new pass for this race. So yeah, I am slightly concerned about how that one's going to go. Challenge where you only get to have one driver. Aston's already doing that. Jesus. I hope you have a nice hiding place, because if you don't, Papa Stroll's going to come for you. Yeah, basically. Tired both cars for final race. I feel like that could happen. We could be unlucky and they just crash on the first corner. Some failed pass. We should have enough that it's not a concern. So we'll do just that. Piastri is going to be driving this final race though with a pretty busted engine, but it's better than no engine. So I'll allow it. I am very tempted, although it's probably not recommended, if you will, to put the final CFD period into the rear wing, honestly. And the main reason for that is that usually your rear wing, the main thing you want from that is just you know, drag reduction in the DRS delta. But what I'm thinking here is that it's either that or the front wing. But we already have a fairly decent front wing here, 77, 76%. The rear wing is a little bit further behind, but it's not by much. So we're going to be putting our final period in it, and I just want to see just how good this this rear wing of ours actually ends up being next season, because I do like the DRS effectiveness. Big numbers go burr is always something that is you know, enjoying to watch. So while not probably recommended, we're going to put this into the rear wing. Red Bull going to win all of the races too in real life. They could potentially, like, they could win the remainder of the races if we if Verstappen's car doesn't explode at one point. But the thing is, Verstappen has usually such a huge gap, as I said, to everyone else, that it's actually not an issue where he ends up. Apparently I scouted Stanek for someone, so we'll have a quick look in case they're here. So Stanek is pretty good, honestly. 64, 65 overall in racecraft. Lacking a bit of smoothness, but honestly, he is lacking a little bit of cornering here. Control accuracy decent. Not a bad allocation of stats, but not the greatest either. Could probably sacrifice some accuracy for cornering and braking. And I like to see the smoothness higher. Verstappen could probably stop racing this year and still win. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I believe we had a question about how do the drivers look in this set. We can actually have just a quick look here now and see in the terms of the overall rating. So Verstappen is currently rated 93, Leclerc 92, then we have Norris 91. Alonso has retained 90 here to the end of the season 2, which is pretty insane. Russell's up to 90, Gasly and Sainz sharing 89, Perez, Ocon and Hamilton 88 rated. Stroll has climbed up to 87 with Bottas, Albon 85. We have Show, Piastri and Tsunoda. Magnussen at 82, Porsche at 81, alongside Hulkenberg and Schumacher, as well as Italian Jesus and Rick. Then Drogovic, then Vishaw, Maloney, Lawson, Nick, Logan, Palou, Hajar, Doohan, Hauge, Vasa. So I don't feel like there's any, you know, massive surprises here in terms of driver stats. No shocker that Verstappen with his results keeps on just climbing. Should probably have scouted him earlier to just see how his stat distribution is. So we'll do that and we'll have that in before the end of this session. Okay. No streaks because we're in the final race of the season. Not a big surprise there. Let's say both drivers top 10. Although we are getting double payouts here, so it's a shame that we can't do anything with these, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Let's head to Abu Dhabi. I'm just going to check quickly F1 standings. I want to see where exactly we're looking in terms of a Red Bull.
The season draws to a close here.
Verstappen has... Okay, that's actually my first win in Las Vegas, interestingly enough, according to Steam. So Red Bull is currently having about 145 points, I think it is, on Perez, so while it's probably not advisable for him to, you know, not race anymore, if Perez continues the form that he's had lately, then potentially, yeah, he could hold on to that, insanely enough. That would actually be kind of, you know, mad if he did. Again, that Abu Dhabi is the one that barely has any changes to do here, I say. But yeah, it's basically just 3 things that you need to change, which makes it a lot easier. Getting a little bit ahead of myself there with changing driver aggression. But we made it to the final race. If they crash and burn, I can accept it. I'm a big boy. I will not cry. And yeah, let's get through the first session. What is my opinion on salmon? It's very good. I like it a lot. Usually eat it at least once a week, maybe sometime once every 2 weeks, but it is a somewhat staple of ours. I don't really buy salmon though. My we basically have a pretty significant fishing license because my family owns part of a river. So we basically fish it ourselves. So smoked salmon is something I used to make a lot when I was a child. So I like it a lot. It's quite expensive though right now in stores, honestly. So I don't really buy it a lot. But as I said, fish it ourselves. For the most part. Let's see if we can figure out what exactly Norris wants in terms of a setup. Just Google typical Norwegian things. Yeah. Fishing is something that I did a lot when I was younger. It's become less and less as I've been getting older. But like when I was 10, 12 years old, I'd spend a couple of hours walking into the mountains to fish. And then I'd cook it once I get back home in the evenings, during summer break in particular. So, yeah, fishing and wildlife in general is something that I am fairly familiar with, and I've done a lot. So, it's good. One of the best meals still for me is just catching a trout, or interestingly enough, freshwater salmon, which sounds like an oxymoron because they live in rivers mainly. But sometimes we'd actually, someone had actually released by, I don't know if purpose or by accident, in one of the lakes up where I like to fish, release some smaller salmons. They can't actually, you know, reproduce in just freshwater. Or rather, they don't actually taste very good if they're just in freshwater. They weren't good fish there, let's put it like that. But generally, I'd fish out trout, mainly. That's usually what I would get. I'd wrap it in aluminum foil. I'd make a fire. I'd just let it rest in the fire for a while with some butter, with some spices. And once it was done, I would just put that on bread. And it's pretty good, honestly. It is really, really good tasting. Probably the best food on hiking and mountain trips, basically. I don't mind it, but I have a few friends that have visited from other countries, and if you like, it's not their favorite thing. Because most mountains here in Norway are pretty steep. Norway is basically just a huge remnant of a glacier, so if you're going up a mountain, it's going to be fairly steep for the most part. But I don't mind it. As I become older and more, you know, out of shape, it's become a bit tougher, but it's fun. It's a good time. It's good training, honestly, because you use your whole body. See how we do for this quali session, but yeah. Looks good so far.
Drive to the Delta.
It's a weird Norwegian drink. Personally, I don't like it. But it's one of those things that you either like or hate. It's basically just alcohol. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it personally. Okay, I think Piastri should be safely through here, I would hope. Verstappen's still waiting with doing his runs. Currently, we're looking really, really solid, honestly. Verstappen, though, did just completely smash us both out of the field. Where is Alonso? He's in 10th right now. Because again, what's going to be interesting this race is just the Alonso versus Verstappen battle, honestly. Out of curiosity, how is Alonso looking in terms of his car parts? Yeah, I don't think there's going to be an Alonso versus Verstappen battle. I'm sorry for hyping this up. It's just not going to be a thing. it's just not going to be a thing at all. Yeah, because Verstappen has new parts. Alonso has 2 very damaged parts. Well, not very damaged, close to being very damaged. What is my opinion on Rubus Chamoras? Chamoras? Chamaemoras. What is that? Oh. It's that berry, eh? In Norwegian, we call it something completely different. It's called this. So, I'm not surprised that I had no clue what that is. It's good. We usually would gather it every fall. My mom in particular would drag everyone with us up into the mountain, if you will, and we'd collect a bunch, and we'd make jam out of it for the winter. Some we'd just straight up eat, but generally we'd just make jam out of it. It's pretty good. And we usually found a ton as well around one of the I don't want to call it a lake, because it's basically a very small, very deep body of water that is probably just 10-20 meters across. But they had a bunch of it around there, so it's good, honestly. Makes for great jam.
Track should be green now.
See if we can have Alonso through the Q3 at least to make it a little bit interesting.
Okay, that's P5. P5 with that lap. Nice lap. If you could keep your pace up on the in lap.
Yeah, copy.
Do we think Piastri is safe here? He's half a second behind Norris. Alonso is even less safe though, so that's a bit of concern. Yeah, thank you for the interview, I guess, Jasper. That last one was actually really confusing to me because I was racking my brains about what kind of weird flora is this. You mean break all of nearest part? No, please, sir. I'll send you some Rubers Chamir's jam if you do not. I don't know. It's the only card I have left. But yeah, we'll be sending Piastri out here for one more run just to be on the safe side. Alonso did improve, so he's somewhat safe. Now, if we block Verstappen, that would actually be king. But it doesn't look like we're going to get that,
So we're now P9.
that luck. We're living dangerously right now.
Okay, look after the fuel on the way in.
Yeah, copy.
Hamilton did not beat us. Magnussen, Bottas, I think we're safe. Just about. But yeah, Verstappen is taking more penalties here, which I assume is like gearbox. There's still options, but considering that he... gearbox, I mean ERS, my bad. But he still probably is going to end up flying ahead, honestly. Now, just to make this a little bit easier on us here, we're just going to do one flying lap as a warm-up. Just to make sure that we have enough energy, because seeing Piastri not improve there kind of hinted towards that this track takes a little bit more energy on the 2-runner, so you can't actually fully recharge. So we'll just do it like this. Piastri already got held by Leclerc, so he's once again not having the best of qualities. Alonso there, 6/10 behind Verstappen. Hey, let us see if we can find a good window to send our car out in now. Alonso has sent out, so what we're going to do is just send our cars out here. And as I said, potentially be a bit of a block here for the others. Verstappen is now out. He's actually going to be blocking Alonso, or trying at least. But I think we are good. Norris goes up to 3rd. Piastri goes up to 9th. So yeah, still a bit competitiveness here, honestly. Verstappen, though, is probably gonna as I said, even with the penalties, still fly ahead here, I would think. Stroll might even end the dream here, to be fair. So with the penalties, I would assume that we're going to be starting front row with Norris, maybe. We'll see how high Piastri gets, but yeah, not the best run there. Okay, let's have a look at what we can expect in terms of the tires. So about 2/10 difference between soft and mediums, about 4/10, well, 3.5 basically from medium to hard. And degradation-wise, we actually want to, for the most part, try and stay on the softs here. They will be quicker than the mediums for about 10 laps. Mediums will be quicker than the hards for about 11 to 12 laps. So again, they are all fairly equal. The only thing that will stop us is basically degradation. 3-stop is something that have been suggested to me. Indeed. So we'll see what we can do here. We have soft tires to make that work. We have... you know, we have the tires that can make that work, interestingly. Soft, medium, hard, soft, yeah. It is definitely potentially viable. So let's say that we want to, you know, try and do that. What are we actually looking at in that regard? The main thing that is going to cause potential problems doing this strategy is going to be, you know, Piastri's quick degradation on the tires. But it's also going to be, you know, getting overtaken and stuck by another cars. But we can try this, honestly. I don't mind. We don't have anything to lose, so there's nothing, as I said, really to lose here by doing this. It just makes things a bit more interesting. So let's go for that. Let's give it a go, see how it plays out. Again, it's more for fun than anything else, so we'll try it out. Or medium, hard, soft, soft could also work. But what I'm thinking here for Piastri's sake in particular, Norris too, honestly. Norris would probably be better to start on the mediums. Shouldn't be too bad. It worked for Sargent. Hello, Nenke, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. In terms of Norris here, probably starting on even the hard compound here might be the play. Because, again, that'll more time to create gaps. You'll probably get stuck, honestly, if we go on the softs immediately. So what I'm thinking is that we're going to be switching it around the things around here a little bit to make it even more interesting. Because as long as Norris stays with them, he'll be fine on this long hard stint. So we're going to try this. Again, for Piastri, the goal is simply do the best that we can on the soft stint. Get in, pit, get some free air, and then work from there. I'm only starting on soft and medium with this strat. Well, we'll try hard, see how it works. Bit late with tuning in. What have I missed? You haven't actually missed much. We haven't had any crashes yet. We had a bit of a weird incident in Brazil where 4 cars DNF'd after the race was over. Basically running out of fuel. But yeah, generally not a lot has happened. Jasper has questioned my Norwegianness, but other than that, things have been pretty calm, honestly. Not much going on. Final race of the season, Abu Dhabi. We'll be having an attempt at a 3-stopper. And we basically already won both championships, so there's no real spice here. The only real spice left is Aston versus Red Bull. There's 4 points between Alonso and Verstappen. And there's a few points between them in the standings as well, so could be interesting. We'll see.
It's the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Potentially, we might actually help Aston by pulling Stroll along.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
Okay, so we are not the only one on a hard tyre. Ocon thought this was a brilliant idea as well. Norris is already launching an attack. Verstappen actually started not as far down as I would have expected. And Piastri didn't really get promoted, unfortunately. So Alonso is probably going to have a rough time here trying to find Verstappen. Just finished your own first season. How did it go? Hope it went well for you. But yeah, for us, we're about to finish the second season there. Should make things a little bit interesting. Battle assist and red defend. Yeah, already put that on. fact that Tsunoda's already falling back a bit is concerning for Piastri's sake. Might have been better to start him too on the hard here. Although with his damage, he might have been even slower. We do still have a little to go before we get into the super overheating temperature, so we're still okay. But he is already falling back a bit. Checo. We have a Paris fan here. Yeah, Paris currently running 7th. Norris is falling a bit behind Stroll here, but once they now start, slowing down a bit, that shouldn't be a concern. In all honesty, we'll be tuning down the aggressiveness on the ERS. Degradation-wise, we're still looking really, really good, so we don't really have any concerns there. Piastri is falling backwards a bit, but it is what it is. We've been seeing that for the last few races. Does rally defend work if you own least and have no one to defend from? Shouldn't, see any gain in theory. So yeah, should be fine to just leave it if you have no one to defend from. Got 3 race wins with Aston, all by Alonso. Fired Stroll. Jesus. You let him have his home GP and then just said you're out of here. Picked up Norris, end up 3rd in constructor. That's not bad. Sounds like you had a pretty, interesting one for sure. Position-wise, we're still looking good. Norris running first with Stroll. The fact that we're actually, gaining more distance to 3rd and 4th is fine. And honestly, I probably should try and pull away from Stroll here to, get more of a fight between Red Bull and Aston. But I feel like with the damage Alonso already has, that they are pretty severely disadvantaged. I assume you're from Brazil, Mel. Honestly, I hope Perez gets an upsurge in form and just gives the staff a little bit of a scare. Gives him a little bit more vitamin. And my first save at Aston ended up winning both championships by Japan. I can see the first save being kind of, wonky. Maybe not min-maxing. Honestly, that's fine. Also, if you have a few bad crashes, that can slow things down. That's the kind of beauty with these games. That everyone's experience can be very, very different. So if we can get Piastri by that Alpine, we can. Aston is not a bad choice for new players, yeah, that's true. I think a lot of new players, though, do end up picking Merc because, well, A, they're well known, but B, they're 3rd, really, so they shouldn't have any problems, but at least before they patched it, I can see that being kind of a noob trap to some degree. But yeah, Aston is definitely a good choice to run the game. Piastri, once again, not really having the pace. Norris still running out front there with Stroll. Degradation less than expected, so potentially we could actually stretch him into a bit of an insane one. But for Piastri, now the goal is going to straight up be to get him in. Get him onto that medium stint. He should come out pretty far back, in theory. 15 seconds to Tsunoda. So hopefully he'll have a little bit of free air to play with. How important is engine cooling for me? Because I always sacrifice it. Engine cooling will have a huge effect, Pedro, on your, engine, gearbox, and ERS degradation. Basically, if you have high engine cooling, you can get away with using less parts over the course of the season, so it is somewhat important, but the value is going to be dependent on whether you're okay with buying new engines, new ERSs, new gearboxes. If you want to limit that, you want to have high engine cooling. I usually recommend at least 50%. It's going to be probably hard for most to get that first season though, but as long as you are minimum 40%, 40 to 60 is basically when it starts having even, less of an effect. You should be good, but again, engine cooling has a huge effect on your durability for your engine, and you know, your powertrain components are somewhat important. Yeah, 60% as it says is a good benchmark. Even tries to steal Ferrari's whole crew. Yeah. That's basically what I've ended up with, though, to be fair, because I've stolen... I stole Ferrari's entire crew for basically this one, and then I ended up stealing... what's their face? A Mercs crew for a different save, so I've done both of those. Is it me, or does Red Bull become like third quick spin in its first season? Honestly, this is the first time I've seen them end up, you know, potentially third on the second season. They usually always bang score second, so I rarely see them kind of underperform, to be honest. Usually I just see them spiral ahead, if you will. So yeah, it's not common for me, but again, I have like 4-5 save games to use as an example, so I could just be the outlier. Mick is back in AlphaTauri, indeed. You get lucky and get the regulation for extra engine, ERS gearbox. Yeah, pick that up for sure. That is the best regulation out there. Yeah. As you get in the later season, and you know, you as a player have a much better chance of combating regulations, you'll be getting some pretty insane stats for a lot of them. Okay, so Stroll pitted for hard. Currently, we're looking pretty good, honestly. We'll take this for sure. Yeah, don't worry, Pedro. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I don't mind helping out. As Aston, the biggest challenge is not getting good enough staff? Could very well be. Usually you'll have a good first season, and then you can, in your second season, pick up basically anyone you want. Are you thinking about the 31st of December then, Yinka, or... Because it could be a weird bug. Could also just be a visual glitch, honestly. Is the Ferrari crew at 0 days left on the contract? It could also be that they've signed pre-contracts. I might think. That's the wrong driver. We want to have Piastri push... Help Piastri push his energy. Didn't really help though. Just wasted it. Yeah, Cadil is probably the best crew member you can nab. I don't know what happened there, but Piastri lost a second in that corner. That's a bit of a yikes moment. We also run Norris a bit longer than we intended, so... I have a horrible idea. I have a horrible idea, but it could be a fun idea. So I think we can stretch Norris to this on the hards. We have 3 sets of softs. Yeah, 3 softs. Because Norris has actually max smoothness, so he has some pretty insane options in what we do. Now, hilariously enough, 3 softs is actually slower by 3 seconds, so I did kind of make it a bit of an error here by letting him go a couple of laps beyond what he was supposed to. But I still think this will be funny. And again, since degradation is lower, we can even do something like this to just stretch it even further in our advantage. So we could actually pit him on this lap for a set of softs. I'm crazy. Honestly, it's just curiosity, really. I want to see if it works, that's the thing. That's also why a lot of my friends don't enjoy playing certain games with me, because at times I will do something that doesn't make sense, and it will either be the best idea ever, or it'll bring great sadness to everyone. There's no middle ground there. Yeah, when Norris now pits, so should Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, really. So this should be fine. We also see Magnussen and Schumacher pit, but we're going to be stretching at least a couple more laps there for Piastri. We're going to stay Piastri on this one because he's following to the letter the degradation. Norris, on the other hand, should still be okay with what we're currently doing. This was my strat I wanted to try, yeah. We adapted to Norris, but yeah, it should work out pretty well for Piastri, I think, honestly. It's not a bad strategy at all. Norway is famous for waffles. We aren't as famous as the Belgians. We also make them differently, but they're good food. Well, they're not really food like dinner. We use them more as a snack. You can have them with, say, ice cream, or in our case, it's either brown cheese or white cheese, yellow cheese that we usually put on them, or jam, or just butter and sugar. They're pretty nice as a, you know, in between meal, snack meal, or even a dessert. I like them. At the end of the season, Toto sent me an email to offer us congratulations. Yeah. the revenge arc incoming there. Let's get Piastri in this lap. I'm wondering if Norris is actually going to be able to set good enough lap times to make this worth it. But right now it looks like he's doing 1.5 second gained every lap right now. So gonna need about 10, 17 laps each. This might be a tad too little. We'll see. We're basically going to be running about 12 laps on each stint for the most part. So we'll see if we can make that work with the soft strategy. Piastri comes out in not the best spot ever, but we should be able to get him by on the next straight, and then we'll have some free air here. Norris here, and actually degradation is less even on the softs here, so could potentially move him even over to the fact that Piastri is still losing to Hulkenberg on the straight there. Not having a good day, are you? Do it like this. Yes. It's what we literally call it in Norway, but it's basically goat cheese, I believe. Let me just Google it so I don't get it wrong. Yeah, basically goat cheese. It's several types of cheese, but generally it's just a cheese made with a brown coloration because of the way it's made. It's generally a lot softer than regular cheese, so it's something that you usually only see in I haven't actually seen it anywhere else where I've traveled, but if you Google brown cheese Norway, you should get a pretty decent explanation on it, because again, I'm not well versed in it, so can't really explain it too well. But it's basically a bit of a different type of cheese. It's quite different from, you know, regular yellow or white cheese, depending on how you want to, you know, describe it. Okay, we need to get Norris away from the two front runners here so that we do not pull them along for this strategy to work. So we're going to deploy and try and run as quickly as we can. Norwegian waffles are probably different than, say, if your interpretation of waffles is Belgian ones, then the Norwegian version of waffles is going to be quite different, because we do not make them in the same manner, so to speak. So cheese on them is actually really common, but again, they're quite different from the Belgian version. Yeah, some do this. I haven't actually seen a caramel cheese myself, but some do describe the taste of brown cheese to be close to caramel, some types, because there's many different ways of making them. Some are made with goat milk, some is made from cow milk, some is made with fløte, which I'm going to have to Google Translate because I can't remember what it is in English. It's cream, but basically not, you know, liquid cream. if you will. I need to find a different word for it because it's not cream. It's different. Give me a second. Okay, apparently according to Google it is cream. But it's basically the taken apart, you separate it from the milk and then you make cheese out of it. I'm not well versed, as I said, in making this, so I don't exactly know how it's made, unfortunately. Now, I did, because of this discussion, I did forget about Norris again. So we have actually pushed these softs way longer than we were intended. But yeah, you can see the degradation difference here between Norris and the rest of the field, really. It should also come out pretty safely here. Yeah, basically Asper. The batter is a bit different too, is the thing. See if we can fly by signs here and get a bit of a gap. We've inherited your rain, Edster. Like, for the last 2 weeks, it's been raining kind of every day. Which made me a bit miserable. Because it did make one of the trips that we had to the forest trips a bit more painful. But not much we can do about that, honestly. The weather is the weather. It's fall. It does weather things, basically. But yeah, we basically inherited all of your rain, I think. Which honestly isn't the worst thing ever, because most of our power comes from hydroelectric plants, so getting those filled up before the winter is not necessarily a bad thing. Yes, most Norwegian waffle irons are shaped in 4 hearts, so there'll still be a square, but the squares kind of make it 4 hearts with the corners kind of removed for that, if that makes sense. That's most Norwegian waffle irons. Makes them easier to split. I don't even know how we got into this topic from an F1 stream, but it's funny to me. But yeah, basically that's how we do things. Okay, let's see if Norris can actually get by Stroll here. Piastri's still doing good. Not great by any means to the imagination, but good enough at this point, honestly. We'll have to see if he can actually make something out of this, though. Don't mind the heat as long as it's not too stifling. Yeah. Don't want to take the dogs out on a walk on the hot pavement. That's just that's not good. It's basically a Norwegian question stream, like courtesy of you. But I don't mind. It's not too bad. Piastri is doing what Piastri kind of expected here. Alonso's still running kind of out of the points, so unfortunately no big fight between him and Verstappen. Just not happening. I don't think Stroll's going to get enough points there really to, you know, cause problems for the Red Bulls. Unless, of course, Red Bulls take each other out. We still haven't had any huge accidents this stream, Edster. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. So we'll have to see what happens there. But this definitely did work out really well for Norris, Alex, for sure. He's currently 12 seconds ahead of Sainz. And I think by the time we end up pitting him here, which probably is going to be around lap 50, he should be able to extend that gap to the point where he can safely pit. Because right now, 2 seconds ahead of Sainz per lap. A bit less for Verstappen, but Verstappen had probably DRS, I would assume, that lap. So it's still okay. For Piastri, however, we're going to get him in for his final pit stop. See what he can do. And he will be coming out fairly far back again. He's going to have a bit of work to do. But it's just how life be. Yeah, classes are usually chill. There's no... Like, I don't like stressing people when it comes to learning. The kids should enjoy learning. Personally, I had a couple of teachers which were really... I don't know how to say this in a diplomatic way, but they were basically, you were supposed to get this far by now, and if you haven't, you are basically, you know, not putting in the effort. So, yeah, it should be chilled. It should be a good environment. Some students struggle more than others. Some people have it easy. Some children have it easier than others. And it's basically just adjusting to them and making sure that they all have still a good time learning. Because the second it becomes, you know, negative for them, that's the second they start losing interest, and it starts going, you know, even worse with it. So try and keep it as chill as possible to some degree. Try and be understanding and try and kind of, you know, set up a good learning environment for everyone. I teach 1st to 4th, 5th grade, so not anything too advanced, but math, history, a little bit of everything really, as you kind of have to. But yeah, generally focused on math, history, and what would be, I assume, social studies. Those are the 3 things I'm mainly focused on, but I can basically teach anything right now that has to do with those 4-5 years. Norris is now done with his final pit stop, 6 laps. I think we'll have no problem flying by these cars. Piastri too snatched his fastest lap here. He should be getting Russell by the end of this. So, good strategy for sure, Alex. But yeah, as I said, I do teach a little bit of everything, so, but mainly math, social studies, history. Almost getting depressed in school. Teachers are not willing to explain anything close to me, and math's really hard for me. Yeah, that is probably an issue with every school, to be fair. Most teachers have very limited time per student, which makes it very difficult for those who need a little bit extra help. Because math in particular can be very, very hard to understand for many. So what could be a good idea then is just to talk with your parents and have them talk with whoever's in charge of the school and say that you are finding math to be a little bit hard. Your teachers aren't giving you an adequate explanation, or even it's very difficult for most students to take that up with the teacher and teaching themselves. So you can either yourself or your parents, of course, take contact with the school, tell them that you would like a little bit more thorough explanation of things. It's a little bit difficult to catch up, but yeah, it's can be quite a challenge to get things done. But yeah, math is one of those things that most people are either really good at, or most people will struggle a little bit with it, unfortunately. Yeah, Alonso's not having a good race. He's basically out of this by now. Sainz might need to pit 3 laps to go. He's going to be falling down the grid. Stroll, though, even if he beats Verstappen, it's not going to be good enough for the points here, unfortunately. Yeah, learning support, potentially. On my school, we have a system where some volunteers, generally students grades 9, 8, 9, 10, because you have 10 years in Norway, and you either go to what's called further education, literally, where you take either a 2-year or 3-year study before you go to a university. But we basically have 9th and 10th graders help out the 1st to 2nd to 3rd, usually when they, I would assume that could be, we also have system for that higher up. Fuel is good, we don't need to worry. I can't really push Piastri any more than we can here, so
Okay,
non-issue. But learning aids or learning support is potentially a good choice learner. I understand that learning math can be really, really difficult, and you should try and ask the school for any, support that you can get. Yeah, don't worry. I'd rather have a little bit extra, and as said in this case, that wouldn't actually have changed anything for Norris or Piastri, then we just leave it as is. But thank you for the shout out anyways.
What a remarkable drive by Lando Norris today.
There we go. We actually won once more with the 3-stopper. It's not actually bad. Piastri started pretty far down. He ran with a damaged car. If that wasn't the case, well, damaged in terms of the engine being kind of broken. If that wasn't the case, probably would have had a much better result here, for sure. So 3-stopper definitely viable here. But Norris also does have the advantage of being able to run a 3-stopper with, you know, soft, hard, or medium even, I think. So, yeah, probably a little bit too beneficial there for him. Which means that Verstappen holds on to this position. Alonso and Stroll 3rd and 4th. And we win the championship. Perez 5th, Leclerc 6th, Sainz, Russell, Albon managing to eke out a 10th here. And the constructors then, Red Bull do overtake Aston. Unfortunately, Stroll could not fight them alone. 8 points between them, but at least we did have a bit of a fight here, and Red Bull almost finished 3rd for the first time in history. Yeah, so kick in a minute, yeah. I was 15 seconds faster, I think, than the established time, yeah. Basically, if you have a high smoothness driver, the established time is basically if you follow exactly like Oscar did. I think I'll be starting Season 3, but we might jump into Season 3 just to see what the car will be looking like, because I do kind of have to go. I'm getting hungry. But yeah, I'm thinking we'll be starting Season 3. We'll be going into it just to see where our car is at, developing for the first parts, just see where we're at, maybe do Bahrain. We'll see how long it takes to get there. The Pit Stop Championship here, we ended up winning that. Red Bull 2nd, Ferrari 3rd. I'd say we pretty handily won that. It's going to be a bit difficult next season. Did even have a bit of a pit stop issue here for Norris, but didn't make a difference. So we'll take that for sure. Financially, a good haul. And we probably have a bit more money than we need, so I might consider doing some refurbishments. I'm not replacing Piastri. I was planning to promote Verschoor, but if we're going to promote him, it's going to be a few races into Season 2. Because in this case, as you can see, we'll be replacing Norris in that case. Piastri is already signed on to a 5-year contract, and this thing is here the same as for Verschoor. So I think we're going to have to wait a couple of races probably before we can promote him, if we do next season. Again, it's a little bit back and forth with what I want to do. Viewers do have their suggestions that I kind of want to try and incorporate at times. But sometimes, you know, the previous contracts make that kind of difficult. But we are keeping Piastri. His growth is actually pretty good. At this point, it's lacking a bit of smoothness, but as you can see here, cornering is getting up there. Might want to switch him over to something else here. Currently, it's race strategy. Basically, okay, we already have switched him over to something else. Yeah, so race strategy, try and get that smoothness up a little bit. Science Center improvement. Okay, yeah, so we did actually accept this, but as you can see, because we didn't have the condition, it didn't actually, you know, matter for us at all. Bonsa had a good VIP experience, good. The F2 Championship, Behrman wins, Maloney 2nd, Wesley 3rd. And, well, Lando Norris victorious, McLaren wins title. Board is happy, we're happy. I'm wondering what we're going to see as that in terms of driver changes, so we'll have a look at that. Parts are failing, but it doesn't matter. Last race of the season, won't matter at all. We actually have 60 million in the bank. That's a tad more than I anticipated, so we're going to go ahead and use some of that. In this case, I think we're actually going to upgrade the design center. Probably the car bar test center would be a better choice. Honestly, we're going to refurbish this, upgrade this. The reason for that being very simply that we want to upgrade this. I should have started this earlier. Science Center we're actually upgrading because it'll also, well, refurbish because we can get that event that gives us extra slots, which would be nice. What's the best way to develop Lando? Jesper? In Norwegian, that's basically, it's Jasper, I guess, or Jasper. Basically, the way that we pronounce J's in Norwegian gets closer to a Y, so the Norwegian version of your name would be Jasper. So that's probably my apologies. Is it Jasper? Jasper, maybe? Sorry. It's not, I actually have to focus to get Jasper, Jasper, sorry, again. It's not going smoothly for me. Sorry. That's why, at least. In terms of developing Lando, I did develop his smoothness and control, basically, because, well, I don't actually remember what he had. He has basically a very good starting point here. So I'm pretty sure I ran pace race strategy, maybe. I don't actually remember. But I developed his smoothness mainly, with a little bit of control. I don't actually remember what I put him on. I have him on driving standards right now. But mainly we developed control and smoothness first, and then we got into more of the pace stats. Yeah, I assume it's Jasper, rather. So I'll try and focus and get that right going into the future. But yeah, it's basically just a Norwegian way of saying it, so to speak. There was one more thing that I wanted to do with facilities, and that was probably... Race sim is... Okay. I wanted to refurbish both this one and the race sim. That should be it for this season. Let's stop. And it's still... Okay, still shut down. Because it's a whole week, I assume. What we're going to do with this research is just straight up another one. Want to offer my congratulations. You blew us out of the water a little bit. Call it a lucky break, though. I'll see if you can repeat that luck next time. Enjoy the end of the year, and I'll see you on track soon. That's the worst accent ever. Fun fact, Spanish use Y and Japanese use Portuguese. I don't know why it turned into Japanese. Probably because I saw the J before the Portuguese. Ah, I can refurbish from the drivers. Is that what you're saying? So if I go here... Learn something new then. That's pretty cheeky. But yeah, we're gonna just honestly just do a new suspension. Probably a tad lazy, but at this point it doesn't really matter much. Won't actually reach completion date, so we do need to use some engineers to make this happen. And we might just have to do a chassis for one of these, we'll see. Cost cap limit with 2.4 million away, which means that we're breaking the cost cap for the second season in a row, because we're going to start 2 more projects right now. And then the month's going to take over, so that is hilarious. Do we have enough here to do... In terms of time, that is... Okay, so we can do this one. And then how many engineers do we have spare? 4. That's about 12 days. We're on the 28th, so... Chassis... probably a best option, honestly. We'll just do chassis to make it simple, but I think we could have done a underfloor there if you really, really wanted to. Should be okay, though. Is a design center upgrade temporary this year, or did I have a glitch? The design center upgrade that I had here in the inbox is basically that you have a random event that'll give you 2 extra slots for 2 months. But it doesn't actually work unless your design center is in prime condition, so within that 4th bubble. Because once it drops effectiveness, it also drops those slots. So that is basically why we didn't have them. I predict that we will go over the cost cap. Yes, I agree. We will. So staff changes here. We have our entire crew anchored until 28, so no real concerns there. Driver changes here. Secured in 29, 25, 29. So yeah, Norris would be the one that we will be switching out probably next season. The board review, they have high confidence and development-wise here. 2 points in defending for Piastri. Not the best stat to get, but we'll take it. A point in overtaking for Norris. Point in reactions and adaptability there for Vershaw. Now, I am curious about where... Yeah, it looks like they're not... It looks like they actually have taken steps here to slow down the pit crew training. Because right now they're exhausted. They were not supposed to be exhausted. They were supposed to be 46% at the end of the... Let's see if we put these two to rest. Like, where are we at then? Still at 79%. Okay, so... We have gained way more than we expected, so the pit crew guide needs a little bit of a rework if this is supposedly how it's supposed to be. Because what it says that we're going to get and what we actually end up with are not, you know, the reality of the situation. So what I'm thinking that we do here is straight up put all of them to rest. Which is the easiest way just to do like this. Because we aren't actually, you know, gaining anything by having them work right now. We're going to be losing that next season anyways. So might as well just get a perfectly rested crew for that first month. But yeah, as you can see here, since 79, we did check before the final month, it was 46%. It looks like they've increased the fatigue that you are getting from your pit crew. Could be a bug. Could be a, you know, an unintended consequence of some of the changes, but this is definitely not how it's supposed to be. So I'll have to do a little bit of experimenting to figure out exactly what's happening there. But yeah, we'll give them a winter break now. Well deserved. And in Mecca's case, it even has high processor here, so it should be getting less fatigue. I can only imagine just how hard this are hitting the lower rated teams potentially, so we'll have to see. I again have to experiment a little bit and figure out what's going on there. As a Lando fan, it's weird to hear you say that Lando's leaving McLaren next year. There are rumors that Lando might be leaving McLaren even sooner because of Red Bull might want to try and snatch him. So we have been fined 1.2 million because we have already exceeded the cost cap. This is the second year in a row. We'll take that. We do not want more sponsor obligations, honestly. Mobile room events, I do not want them. Go away. They're not worth it. Race sim refurbishment complete. Good. And the McLaren and the Verstappen stats here. So yeah, basically max corner and braking, I would assume during the races due to confidence. Lacking a little bit in accuracy, but yeah. 99 defending. Man's gonna put you on the wall if you try and go by him. The fact that he's low in accuracy though is kind of a... This is straight up an insult, considering just how machine-like Verstappen actually is with his driving. Team Hub refurbishment complete. We can have a look at that once the season ticks over, or at the end of the season maybe. We can actually just do it now, to be fair. Did have a look a little bit earlier. So, Verstappen is still highest rated. Norris shares the 92 seat with Leclerc. Alonso and Russell are both rated 90. Then we have Perez, Gasly, Sainz rated 89. Ocon, Hamilton 88, 87 for Stroll and Bottas, 85 for Albon alone, then 84 for Show, Piastri and Tsunoda. So Tsunoda is keeping up with Piastri here. Goes development. Magnussen, Italian Jesus, and then we have Boucher, Hulkenberg, Schumacher and Rick. Felipe Drugovich and Rashor, both 79 rated. And yeah. Lawson 78, Palou 77. Behrman is now 76. Hauger 76, Doohan. So yeah, I don't think there's anyone under 80 that is currently racing. Yeah, it's just ruminating until, you know, something happens. But what are we supposed to live on between race weekends if not rumors? They should just make Verstappen 100 in every rating. Yeah. What is the best way to develop your car in a Williams? So honestly, we might actually have a look at that right now because I'm planning on starting a new season, Robert. So I'll be basically setting up a car, kind of like you would in Williams, to be fair. So you can get a good idea now, but basically you want to make specialized parts to some degree. Science Center refurbishment is complete as well. High Sanus Reserve, only 1 point behind. We have just signed for sure on a 5-year contract though, so that's going to be quite expensive. Finishing up the last of the research here, sponsoring Luke Browning. Sure, I can throw away 300,000 for Luke. Lando going to Red Bull with, yeah. Maloney isn't a bad choice, Lando's for sure. Yeah, we did win the DHL. Mekis does not like us anymore, that's fine. 7th for Piastri, 1st for Norris, 720 points win. Team rating improves. That should actually help the morale of the boys too. Interestingly enough, we did beat both of our objectives. Speaking a little bit too quick there, biting my tongue. And as you can see, the team principal rating of mine has gone up quite substantially. Regulation changes were fairly minor, just 5% across the board. We made up for all of those. So let's jump into Season 3 here and see where we actually end up. Okay. So yeah, we did achieve what we wanted. If we want to right now, we could click this one to switch team to a different one. If I click this, I can pick McLaren again, I'm pretty sure. But we're just going to accept the new target. We'll have a look at the team switching some other time. Welcome to the new season. Let's have a look here. The sponsor obligations. These are the most painful things in the universe, usually. So we'll have a look and see what actually happens here. Merchandising, we're forced to do that. Race Sim event, we're forced to do that one as well. Wish we could turn that even further down, but again, the money here isn't too bad. Race hospitality, pit crew performance will decrease. Again, it's not worth it really. You get 29,000 for potentially, you know, last pit crew performance. I don't feel like that is worth it. Neither is this, honestly. Would just chuck it away. I don't really feel they need to add any of these either. Driver appearance here could be potentially worth it, but again, we are developing both our drivers still. If you have an older driver, feel free to pick this one because it pauses development, and older drivers develop very slowly to begin with, and it does actually pay pretty well if you say put, you know, a driver in for 22 races. Merchandising is still going to be pretty good. We can't actually go below 3,000 units there. We do have 40 million to start off with, so what we're actually going to do here is put in, I think. Let's do 4,000 units. We're not actually, you know, pressed for money. So what we're going to end up doing here is paying 15 million, but over the course of the next season here, we're going to end up with 7.7 million of profits. So we'll choose that. Before I start your next, my bad. We'll just start next season and have a look at the drive transfers. Sorry about that, Ninka. Okay, so balance-wise, we should be good. Technical here. The chassis, more than made up for it. Same here with the front wing. The rear wing here, also more than made up for it. Side pods, more than made up for it. Underfloor, just barely made up for it, but we're still ahead. And the suspension here too, more than made up for it. Caught up a little bit to the other parts. No changes to season price share for now, which is good. No changes here either, I believe. So we are looking really, really good. Yeah. I think we're just going to stick with Red Bull for now. It is the main thing here is power, but again, Renault, Ferrari, they're both good choices, honestly. Interesting enough, the Merc engine is just decidedly the worst this year. Every engine is kind of close with how things are. Red Bull engine works for me, so I'm just sticking with what I know, so to speak. Okay, internal car report. So this is our 24 performance. This is our 25. We gained a lot of top speed here because we no longer have the specialized parts, which means that we lose DRS effectiveness, acceleration, but even then, we're still very, very highly rated. Low speed, medium speed, and high speed have all gotten upgrades, even without any specialization going right now. Same for dead air tolerance, brake cooling, engine cooling. We sacrificed these three to boost the other stats, so this is a pretty good starting point. Pit crew performance, they dropped off massively, so they've definitely done some hidden changes here. They lost a third of their performance, so to speak. Basically, they've dropped down from 97 to 67. So pit crew has definitely been impacted in some way, and I do need to sit down at one point and just have a look at it, because what you'd usually see is that they would drop 10 points. So from 97 to 87, but now they've dropped down to 67. So they might actually have hit us with a bit more of the harder changes that I was asking for, but it would have been nice to see it in the patch notes, unless there've been a hidden patch that I haven't actually caught up with within the last couple of days, because as I said, have been busy. ATR allocations have been given, which is acceptable. ATR starts today, car part development is open, new regulations in effect, and driver development updates. So Norris gets overtaking, Piastri gets reactions, and Vasseur gets adaptability and cornering. Sliders do not currently work in Inca. They reverted that change, so they all go to balanced anyways. So right now, it doesn't matter really. I don't know if they have reverted it for console, but I would assume so. So right now, the sliders are balanced no matter where you place them. Okay, so in terms of what we want to develop, the first thing that I'm going to do here is actually develop ourselves a chassis. As you can see, we aren't actually that well ahead on the chassis. We probably need to put in a little bit more work. But we're going to make a minimum lifespan, maximum airflow chassis like this. It's going to lose us a little bit of the engine cooling, lose a little bit of top speed, but the cornering gain here is pretty substantial, and that's what we're going for. Now, at start of season, I do like to rush this project and put in 6 engineers. That way we can get this done in 14 days. Now, to be fair, you don't actually need to put in any engineers on this if you rush it. But it's just so that we can get as many parts done before that first race as possible. It's 51 days. If we want to get another project done, we're going to have to put in extra engineers to get that done. Yeah, 1.7 was the one that reversed research sliders and design sliders to always be balanced for both of them in terms of expertise gain. So if you're 1.7, then sliders work for design in terms of your parts, but the expertise gain will be balanced across the board for every stat here. So no matter where I place the sliders, I'll get equal expertise gain for all of them. 2 to 4 race for the underfloor, that is acceptable. Drag reduction down. Now, what we could do here, actually, what would actually probably be a better option for now, because we already have a fairly good monster in terms of cornering, is that we just make a very basic underfloor here. Of course, getting, low speed cornering would be the best. So I think we're going to do it like this. Still going to be a bit of a sacrifice in terms of the high speed here, but the low speed cornering that we might be lacking later on is what gets a good boost. So, while not the best, we could do this. Honestly, sacrifice airflow sensitivity is probably also the key here. So we are going to have a look at that. Now, 1.6 changed how sliders worked, and then 1.7 changed it back. 1.71, I'm a bit unsure. Have I seen the new changes to regions on new saves? I haven't. If they've added something new, I haven't. I've been gone for a couple of days, so I haven't actually caught up. I'm going to have to go on Reddit and have a look, probably. But we're going to do this for the underfloor. Fairly basic, not really an upgrade. But the underfloor is so highly rated to begin with that it doesn't actually matter much. We can't really, force out a lot more performance. So we'll go ahead and make it like that. And next up is going to be probably the rear wing. And potentially the suspension. It's what I'm thinking. So the rear wing here is of course going to be drag reduction and DRS delta. That's the only thing we really care about there. We already have an incredibly high dirty air tolerance base point at 80%. We don't need to focus on it on anything here. And this is going to put our give us back that top speed, a little bit of acceleration. The DRS effectiveness is going to be pretty good as well. So we're going to go ahead and make that. Now we could rush some of these projects to, speed things up a little bit more for us. Potentially in that case, it would be probably rushing, say, the front wing here. For instance, we could, as I said, go ahead and rush that to try and get all parts made. But we should be getting 5 parts made before Bahrain. Hello, Poconaldo, how you doing? Hope your league racing went well. I see it went decent, so that's pretty good. Russia didn't qualify, started P12, finished P6. That's pretty good, honestly. Okay, that's pretty good, Scusa. I might have to have a look at that, honestly. But I'm glad your racing went well, Poconaldo. That is good to know. I'm thinking we do a suspension here, where we put in our CFD wind tunnel time. Because once you get hit starting at 80%, the gains you're going to get are going to be pretty low. Although, even the chassis would probably be a better option here. Yeah. We're actually going to make a few chassis this season where we're going to be putting some work into that. That's my bad for not realizing earlier. So for the suspension, I usually do something like this, which gives us low speed cornering, the brake cooling, because again, we can just sacrifice the brake cooling on our front wing doing this. And this is what we're going to do here. We could also, as I said, go ahead and rush it. Won't really get anything done except for Bahrain, but it'll make it a lot easier to get things done for, say, Jeddah and Australia. So we'll go ahead and rush this project too. And that is okay. So once the chassis is done, we're going to do side pods. Now, pit crew's training schedule here. They have actually all become well rested, so we can't be too upset about that. But we have lost a lot of estimated pit stop time. We did lose a ton of stats. So for the pit stop training here, I want to try and put everything onto gym training. And the goal here is going to be to have them being about 50% tired at the end of this month. Because as I said, I want to see just how far off the expectation is. And putting them onto gym training should make that a lot easier, although this will probably be quicker than doing everything manually. Okay, so we're not even getting close to tied yet. But yeah, seems like they have made changes where the pit crew gets hit a lot harder. But as said, I'm going to have to go and dig through some patch notes here to see what I'm figuring out, because I did not have time to catch up before this stream. If they actually release another patch this soon, because that would actually be good too, honestly. Okay, we're actually hitting that perfect 50% mark we're expected to have at the end of this month. We'll see where we're at the start of the next one. Sochi, it was exciting when F1 raced that, yeah. Races are a bit more tiring, wouldn't surprise me. Okay, so we have the first parts in manufacturing. I think I've remembered everything, hopefully, we'll see. First design is complete, which means that we'll also be seeing the driver changes, driver rosters. And let's have a look here. Leclerc has gone to Red Bull, not really that surprising. Lawson going to Red Bull, though, is kind of surprising, in my honest opinion. Stroll and Tsunoda in Aston Martin, which I assume in Alonso has retired. Sainz and Russell in Ferrari, which usually is what you see when Leclerc gets snapped up by Red Bull. Magnussen and Guan Yu Zhou in Williams. I think this is the first time I've seen Magnussen in a Williams. Ocon and Albon for Merc. Okay, I guess this means Hamilton too has retired, potentially. Italian Jesus and Gasly for Alpine. Rick and Schumacher in AlphaTauri. Then we have Ivasa. I think this is the first time I've seen Ivasa getting picked up by Haas. And then we have De Vries and Bottas in Alfa Romeo. This is going to be an interesting season. Who are my favorite drivers? F1, F2, F3, doesn't matter, but in the F1 23 game. F1 23 game, favorite drivers. Honestly, probably Tsunoda. In the game-wise, Tsunoda and Piastri, they have, potential talent. Probably Piastri also now real life, seeing that how well he's doing at the McLaren. But then again, I am flip-floppy. I do change my opinions a lot. No Checo indeed. We might need to see where he has gone, if he too has decided to retire. But yeah, Mercedes stole your lineup. This is going to be interesting to see how they do. Let's have a look and see if Perez actually elected to retire. So Alonso's still here. He's open to negotiations. Perez is still here. He too is open to negotiations. Same with Hamilton. Assume they will all three vanish potentially very soon. Yeah, I'd say Tsunoda and Piastri probably would be a fun lineup. But yeah, Perez here I would assume is considering to, retire. Let's offer this and see how he feels about that one-season contract, just to see if he's actually retiring. Although he's probably going to hate my guts for giving such a shit offer. I'm not happy with this. Okay, so potentially here, he can potentially go longer, interestingly enough. So I do not know how that happened, but someone might actually pick him up then. Favorite team in game or in reality? because I've been a bit of a Aston Martin fan this year. I was hoping they could give Red Bull a bit of a fight, get Alonso his win. First win in forever. Do we see anything interesting here in F2? But yeah, I've been kind of following cheerleading a little bit for Aston Martin lately. A little bit for Aston Martin, a little bit for McLaren with their comeback. Flash is still in the game. Tempest Storks at 52, sorry, not 42. Maybrand at 45. So we are starting to get some options, but they are low rated for the most part. So yeah, probably not going to pick up female talent potentially in this game, unfortunately. Well, this save. I've already done it in AT. Hulk always vanishes, just goes poof. He forced Mick to give him back the cloaking tech. Didn't it say not interested for Hamilton? We can have a look again. I didn't actually pay enough attention to remember. It did. So Hamilton is for sure is retiring. Which I mean that potentially Alonso and Perez are open to doing another season. Honestly, would be tempted to just snatch Alonso for that reason alone. But yeah, we're gonna probably stick with the team that we have. Now, as I said, I do want to get side pods done too before we get to Bahrain, although doing a front wing would probably be more beneficial. So we might do that actually. Side pods here would give us way more medium speed cornering, because that's what's going to the focus going to be here. Also gives that engine cooling of loose with the chassis. And again, this is what I would do basically for Williams too. Mainly focus on airflow and engine cooling for side pods. It's going to be the most important one. Middle rather than front. We're going to have a look and see what the front wing would give us before we make a decision on what to make first. So front wing gives us more low speed, but honestly, both of them are pretty close in terms of what they give and what they lose. So the front wing is quicker to manufacture by just 3 days. I think what we're going to do is put in the engineers, and we'll get both of them made before the race itself. And that should be okay, just to run normal then. We're going to have a lot of work to get done here, though, to get everything manufactured before the race. So let's go ahead and make 3 chassis for now. They'll be done by the time we get those projects done. And we'll see. Make a carry with Aston and Tsunoda Piastri painting. Never bites between principle. Will be fun to watch, see how that goes. Dogs have waited long enough. They want to be walked. Hope you've enjoyed, Adsta. Hope you have a nice walk with your dogs. That should hopefully will be pretty relaxing. Okay, let's get the chassis manufacture underway. I'm probably not going to do Bahrain. Again, I am starting to get quite hungry. Car part test center has been completed, but I am going to get everything prepped for Bahrain, and we'll see how well this car would perform. Concerned about the CFD sim? Honestly, we'll approve the investigation. We're not currently using it. It'll be relaxing for me since no crashes. Well, we can't actually crash because I'm not planning to do any more races today, unfortunately. I need to go and grab some food. We'll do 3 suspensions too for now. Let's do them normally. And we'll also start that final project of ours to get that side pod made. Side pod 2 could actually be a pretty good candidate here to put in CFD time. But for now, we'll just get it made like this. And again, at this point, we have very high engine cooling, so we could potentially tune the engine cooling also down a bit to get even more cornering stats and also sacrifice less of our top speed. But I'm going to make the first edition like this, and then we can adjust it later on when we know where we're actually standing. If we had engineers too, we could also speed this up to the point where we can get it done before Bahrain, but we don't. I don't know that, but that's it, yeah. Baseball hasn't even started my series. You're safe now. Edster can't hurt you no more. Okay, let's see what we're actually looking at now with the pit crew. For that though, development, point and overtaking for Piastri, point and overtaking for Shaw. So, where do you think we're at in terms of the weariness? Okay, so It's higher than expected at 53%, but not bad, not super bad. It's not as bad as we saw earlier. Which makes me believe that potentially here we might be getting more wariness from race weekends, which would be concerning, don't get me wrong, but it's not as horrible as one might think then. For now though, we do want to try and slow things down a little bit. We were about 53%. I'm gonna give it an extra about 10% safe room here, so we'll do it like this. 6% on the race weekend. Should be... Let's try and set it up here so that we hit 0% on that final day. 2%? Okay, that's fine enough. There was 3% difference last time around. Let's see. Let's try and remember for next stream here. I'll make a note somewhere that I'm probably gonna forget, but still. We'll probably have to take a look then next stream on what we're looking at there. I'm also going to be lazy and just say that this is okay, because I don't think the AI is going to be developing their pit crew quickly enough that they will be a potential threat for us here. So this should be fine. A bit lazy, as I said, in the setup of that, but it's okay. Okay, so CFD sim concerns. We get a free refurbishment, I say, for 576,000. However, if we were to, say, refurbish it properly, it would probably cost us more. So we'll take that. We'll approve. Because I have no choice. They're holding me hostage. Okay, underfloor and rear wing design complete. Which means that we just now need to start manufacture them. For the underfloor here, we have 8 days before Bahrain. Which means that if we want to get done in time, we're going to have to rush them. Can't really do that though, so we'll just do 2 manually. Well, normally, we'll have parts for 1 car. For the rear wing, should be no problem to have them ready for both cars. We'll make 4 of them as we are already. That should be fine. And we're ready for the 25 season in theory. Now, as I said here, we do want to design probably a new chassis. And since the chassis is the part that is lagging behind the most, we are going to be putting in our CFD time here. Refurbish your CFD. Yes, board. You can't make me. But they could. So, interestingly enough here, we could sacrifice a bit of energy cooling to get more top speed and acceleration, but we lose out a bit in the cornering ability, so we're going to just do it like this. Again, your cornering is far more valuable than your top speed. And we'll just do it normally. There's no need to rush this. We already have a very, very good car. I do actually end up without engineers if I do it like that, so we'll just go and get that one back. The other thing that I do think that we want to make here is just going to be suspension, mainly just for the development. Not really for anything else. So we're going to make one exactly like we did earlier. And it's going to be an incredibly, you know, small upgrade, but potentially going to be worth it. I could also, as I say, tune down the brake cooling on this one, give us a different alternative. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to take 40 days. Okay, are we manufacturing everything we need to? We are. We should have the other project done tomorrow. Front wing. And there too, we're going to go ahead and just manufacture 4 of them immediately. In terms of the project that we want to do here after the front wing is probably going to be another rear wing potentially. Tsunoda and Piastri crashed twice in quali once in a race. This game is going to be hell. Your first season is probably going to be hell, Lester. Lester? I don't know why I wanted to call you Lester there. Combined your L with your last name there. Leonard, it's probably going to be a hellish first season in all honesty. I'm not going to deny that. But you might be okay going further into it from there. I think we want to make... This could be also a fun underfloor to make, but that's not really what I want to do. I think what we're going to do is actually make another rear wing sign. Because again, the rear wing, the only thing we really care about there is drag reduction DRS delta. And we can manufacture this later on if we feel the need. Okay, let us speed on along here to Bahrain. And just to double check, I did start manufacturing them. Okay. we have 3 suspensions that we're going to make another chassis for sure, so we don't need 4 of those. So let's just make another suspension while we have available slots. Okay, let us have a quick look at the car, and then I'm going to go and make myself some food. So we can install the chassis for both, the front wing for both, the rear wing for both. The only thing that we can't install for both is probably going to be the underfloor. As you can see, I should give it to car 2 on the second thought here, because car 2 is Norris. And the suspension for both. So let's have a look now and see how we actually stack up against our opponents. Yeah, I'm gonna do a challenge game sometime later, Rob, for sure. Right now I haven't gotten that far, but yeah, we're gonna have to put in some rules there to make the game actually challenging, unfortunately. But right now we're not actually doing that just yet. So these are stats compared to the Red Bull. I'd say we're already looking fairly, you know, competitive. They have incredibly high brake and engine cooling. We're still good though. Still good on dirty air. We have slightly better acceleration, better DRS effectiveness. They have slightly better top speed. But yeah, I'd say this is a fairly competitive car. Interestingly enough, I think car 1 has better DRS effectiveness than we do. Interestingly enough, because of that underfloor somehow, which doesn't make much sense. But yeah, lacking a little bit of top speed. But again, we're gonna get that back. Can get that back from somewhere else. So I think we're gonna have a very, very dominant season ahead of us here. But yeah, thank you to everyone for showing up to the stream. We basically just got everything set up now for Season 3. It's been a while since we last streamed. Hopefully next stream will be a bit sooner. Unfortunately, I don't really have any, you know, proper window when I can promise that, oh, I will be streaming this day. But we'll be continuing this stream some other time. It's probably going to be, as Rob suggested, starting a challenge game at some point where we are limiting ourselves. But for now, I'm also going to have a look at the pit crew, because they seem to definitely have changed how quickly you can progress there. Who is second best car? We can have a quick look at that before I go. It should be Red Bull, though, I would think. The reason why it says that we are not is because car 2 has the most. So Red Bull is actually not the second best car, potentially. They have best dirty air tolerance. Did Aston Martin outdevelop them? Potentially, yeah. Aston Martin has outdeveloped them. But they're lacking high-speed cornering. They're the second best in acceleration, DRS, low speed, medium speed. High-speed cornering are lacking. They are probably the best team in top speed here, I would assume. They are. So, yeah. Aston Martin is actually a better car right now than Red Bull. But because of the drivers, I'm pretty sure that Red Bull is still going to be beating them on the regular. So, yeah. I would think that, as I said, Red Bull here is going to have not too much problems beating Tsunoda and Stroll, even if they do have a slight advantage on the Aston Martin side in terms of the car. Mercedes, we could have a look at them too before I go. Just quickly, again, I do say that I'm going to go, but then I stay a little bit longer. But yeah, Merc has been falling, and that is kind of what you see. They're currently basically the 5th, maybe 6th best car, because they're lacking top speed, acceleration, DRS. They are the 4th best car in terms of low speed, medium speed cornering, which is valuable, don't get me wrong. But the fact that they're also lacking brake cooling is very concerning, although it's 70%, 72%, okay, it's not concerning. As long as you're above 60%, you're generally good. So they're still falling down. We'll have to see how they perform this season. The main thing here is going to be if Williams can beat them, and as you can see, Williams is currently the 2nd best team in high speed cornering. They're still not bad in low speed cornering here. They are actually the real 4th best team. So, yeah. Going to be interesting to see how Williams perform, and they have good engine cooling, not the best brake cooling, but again, as long as these 3 stats are above 60%, you're generally good. But yeah, I'm going to end it here now, finally. So, thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. As I said, can't really promise when I'll be streaming next time, but hopefully we'll have a new video out tomorrow. There won't be one today because I elected to stream. As I said, life's been a little bit busy. But again, the video tomorrow should be ready for tomorrow. I'm basically just finishing up the editing. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope to see you next time, and have a good weekend. Bye bye.